Your screen's too bright. You should have turned it down. It's a big white blur. For those who are listening, his phone says E3. All right, and welcome to episode 132 of the Zenspath Entertainment Network Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Powers, and joining me for what is going to be a really, really packed show, returning, because we've been gone for a little bit, Rachel.
Hi.
How about say something? Joining us all the way from way down, not in Australia, because if you say that, they get pissed, Chase.
G'day.
Well played, sir. Well played. And lastly, waiting for us to finish so he can eat his dinner, Steven.
Oh yeah, it was supposed to say E3 on the phone if you're watching us, but it's too bright.
Too bright.
Yeah, you could see it for a moment, and then the screen brightness took over, and the camera's like...
Just like E3. We saw it for a moment. Okay.
It was a flash in the pan. Now it's dead.
It was a blink of the eye.
Oh, man. This is probably the closest we're going to get to an E3 showing because we have so much to talk about. We're actually skipping what we've been up to. So we have our introductions. Everyone can say hi really quick as we did. But we're going to jump straight in to the Xbox 2024 Game Showcase.
I'd say, before we start, if nobody seems interested in talking about stuff in detail, move on, because we've got a lot to talk about. That's
why I thinned out a lot of the stuff, but some of it I at least wanted to talk about. So to start us off, we had the unveiling of Doom: The Dark Ages, which is coming to Series X, S, PC, PS5 sometime in 2025. I watched that trailer multiple times because they are really good at making a good cut trailer. And I love that every time he'd get an item and try and use it, it would switch from scene to scene, like very well edited. But it seems like we might have kind of an open world. We've got a saw shield, which he's throwing around with the physics of Captain America. Yeah, a skull grinder gun. Like it literally just like, how does he load? Does he just like
That was
stick
everybody's favorite?
Yeah, it just loads the skull up and then just chews it up and shoots the bits of the skull out. And I'm like, okay.
Also, this is the prequel of the 2016 Doom, just as an FYI.
Right. Chase, what you got?
A little bit worried about the music, though. I mean...
I'm not. I mean, they've done such a good job with the music in the last two games.
Well, yeah, but Mick Gordon's not doing it anymore. He's not there.
They got Gick Morden.
Yeah.
I think it'll be fine. It'll probably be a little bit different from what it is. And I think they were using the music from this trailer thematically kind of showing this because it's supposed to be like a beginning type thing. We got mechs and dragons, which are great. So we'll be flying around on dragons, which can also do, multiple kills and stuff. The mechs look like some of the ones we found in Doom Eternal, like stuck up into walls and broken. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of
definitely see the Godzilla reference at the end of the trailer too.
Where he's shooting the dragon, shooting fire down something's throat. So I don't know. I'm excited to play this one. I love Doom, so it's just going to be lots and lots of killing. So, any more on that one before we jump up next one? Rachel's like, we're an Xbox. I'm not talking much.
What you see is what you get with Doom.
I have some things to say about some things, but most of them are because
I just like giving you a hard time. Consoles. All right, so we'll jump on to our next one. State of Decay 3. I just wanted to talk about this one real quick because we've been waiting on this one for a while. The trailer kind of looked like it was CGI, some hints of gameplay in there, but we've kind of already gotten a big CGI unveiling a couple years ago with this game. It's looking promising. If you like the series, it looks like you'll continue to like it, but...
I beat the second one.
Oh, nice.
If it's anything like the second one, but just more broad in terms of the amount of stuff you can do, then I'm all set.
Nice.
That is a great co-op game.
I have the second one. I haven't played it. But I have the disc, so I might need to.
It's really good to that one pick up and play with people. Yeah.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll see more on that one in the future. Like it was pretty, but we're getting to the point we don't really know what is gameplay, what is just CG, what is in-engine, all that stuff. All right, next up. Dragon Age: The Veilguard. This one's fall 2024, so we're getting it this year, but this trailer kind of felt like it was an opening to a D&D A-Team movie or something. Like we're showing off the people. but apparently the actual gameplay is very much normal Dragon Age, so it doesn't feel like it fits. Steven, go ahead.
Yeah, the consensus from fans was like the trailer was horrible, but then when they did the gameplay reveal, everybody breathed a sigh of relief for the most part because it was serious. It was just their way of trying to say, here are all the characters in there.
So that to me says that it's someone younger making the trailer, and they thought it would appeal to a different audience maybe when doing it.
There's an interesting theory out there that I think applies really well is if you watch a trailer and they put music in there that doesn't seem to fit, like if they're giving, like if Doom Dark Ages had like hip hop music, then the company is not very sure of their game. Like they don't have any faith in it, so they just put together a trailer hoping something will stick. So whenever you watch a trailer and the music is like doesn't fit at all, think about that and be like, is this game going to even be any good? Do they have any faith in their product? But luckily, because a lot of licensed music was used in this whole showcase.
It kind of, the theme of it, looking at the way the people are, do you guys remember Battlefield Bad Company? Where you had, the serious really Battlefield game, but they had that really quirky group of people in it. I was like, is this going to be that for Dragon Age? Like, that's why I kind of made the A-Team grouping. It's like they're misfits that are doing things, which could be fine, but it was such a disconnect with this trailer.
So. Yeah, it made you think that you were, looking at like Fable or something.
But not as good. Yeah. So.
Like, here's Fable Heroes.
Yeah. So. I'll have to see some more on this one and maybe look a little bit more, but not the best showing, I don't think.
It's like, come on, BioWare. You've had 2 stinkers in a row. You have to come back from it.
Yeah. Speaking of stinkers that are trying to come back from stuff, for some people, I like this game. Whatever. I tried. It's a joke. I'm trying to run with it. Starfield Shattered Space. The update is coming later this year. All I really wanted to say on this is, hey, Bethesda has remembered color. There are colors in the world again. It looks great. Hopefully this is enough to bring it, up to more stuff. I'm still having fun in Starfield, but hopefully it's not too little too late for a lot.
It reminds me of, it's basically Starfield Dead Space expansion.
Yeah, I went looking
at like a marker in the background of one of the scenes. Where
it's
you're
like a growth or something.
I was like, you are so ripping off Dead Space, and I'm here for that. Because that's what you should have done.
Well, you're diving into this more obscure, like weird religious group that you hear about and kind of run into in the main game. So I'm glad to see that expanded. But I don't know. Like, I'm glad to see they're still adding stuff to it, but
probably get a companion too, like Clark Isaac, and he follows you around.
He's not actually there. You're just making him up.
He says his wife's name a lot, and you're like, shut up.
It's better than the guy that wanders off thinking he's at his kid's birthday party and people dying.
You leave him alone.
All right. Now on to the first one Rachel gives a damn about.
Yes.
Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This is coming out in 2025 for Series X and S, PS5, and PC. The thing that caught my attention at first was the fact Ben Starr from Final Fantasy 16, the voice of Clive, is starring in it. So if you never got enough of that voice in that game, here's some more, because that guy was awesome.
Yes.
It's a turn-based RPG, which is great, with an absolutely gorgeous art style. Like, I love how it looks. Steven, go ahead.
Yeah, I was worried at first when I saw like the traversing, but then when I saw that the combat was basically, Xbox Blade Chronicles or Infinite Undiscovery, I was just like, okay, you guys are using a good pedigree here of battles. So I'm so glad it's not kind of falling into the rut some of these other games that we're gonna cover are.
And it's not just your standard turn-based either. It's reactive turn-based. Yeah. So, and it feels like with the music that was going on, I don't think this is actually what's happening. It kind of feels a little on beat with the music. I don't think that was intentional. But
probably for the trailer cut, it might have been.
Yeah, it's very surrealist. It's inspired by the La Belle Époque period in France, which is like very.
This show just got fancy as shit.
Yeah, it's very it's a period of art culture. It's very lavish.
Get my pinky out.
Yes. But it's very the story looks very interesting, and when I watched the trailer, Jeremy saw this like in like live me reacting to this. I just like jaw drop, like my whole body like perked up because
and that's the other thing I want to talk about is the story, because apparently there is some kind of witch that is painting a number up on this mountain every year, and it counts down, and every year when they count it, like it was they showed them putting 34 on there, and everyone that age just dies. They just turn to dust.
The moniker I liked was French Persona.
French Persona.
A little bit, yeah. But it's the paintress looks to be like a very enigmatic like villain, and I think it's going to be very good. It's on my list of things to get. I will say that 100%.
I'm going to call it now. And I'm going to say they're going to fight through all this stuff and then find out and let it happen, because like the people aren't actually dying. They're all being teleported to another world, and it's like saving them from that one, or something's going to happen. That's my theory.
Something.
Yeah.
But
it's an interesting idea.
It just looks good and just gorgeous.
I think it's other than Doom, it's the first game like this that kind of really did catch my attention. Like, okay, I've heard nothing about this one. It's a whole new title.
Oh, same.
Yeah, I'm in.
Like, first time ever hearing about it. I didn't even know it was in development. Like, this came out of nowhere for me, and I'm just like, oh, but like that those vocals in that song, I keep thinking about them. I was like, ooh, they did a good job with that. That's a soundtrack I'll buy for sure. I'm big into game soundtracks.
All right, let's move on to our next one here. So this is another one that I was super excited about when we first saw it, which was only CG. And this time we finally got actual gameplay, and that is South of Midnight, which is coming out in 2025, so it's not making this year. But I love the stop motion look of this one. It takes place in the Deep South and kind of like Louisiana type area where you've got swampland and a lot of that stuff, with a giant talking catfish that looks kind of made up with a cool art style. A very pissed off giant alligator that's an island, and that's just kind of a one small part. But we finally got to see like what the world looks like, traversal, fighting, all the little visual touches, and I'm getting this one the moment it comes out. I'm excited to actually play this one because it's
Swamp Raider.
It feels like a game from Xbox that's finally coming out with that level of kind of animation and finish quality that I got to give Sony is actually pretty good about putting out. So this is one of the most recent games where I'm like, okay, it feels like it's that done. Like that's good.
Yeah. I mean, if it's got a good lore, I'll be interested.
And it seems like it might. I kind of like the interactions.
If, without giving a grade yet, if I had to say something about this whole showcase, is that there was a handful of titles that, if you kind of think about it, they're sevens. They're going to be fun, but they're not going to break any boundaries. But they're going to be like, they're going to probably review as a 7 and say it's good, it's fun, it's interesting. And I think this is one of those, because nothing like I want to play it, I want to experience it, but it's kind of like a one and done. So I was just like, okay, this is going to be awesome, which I'm glad that a lot of these were just Game Pass too.
Yeah, this one I am actually going to just buy it. I'm still not convinced with Game Pass stuff, but I mean, I hope it reviews better than that. I don't want it to be one of those things where it's knocked because maybe it doesn't have the best replay, but that's kind of how a lot of other games are.
Spider-Man 2 is not bad.
Amazing,
people got to realize 7's not bad.
I know, but for a lot of these, for the way Microsoft's been, if they get a 7, they may not make another game. Like let's give them something good. All right. Well, speaking of the fact that we just keep repeating and making the same things over and over again, Metal Gear Solid Delta, which is just a version of 3, Snake Eater. The date is still to be announced. We don't know anything about that yet, but we do finally get to see more of the actual gameplay, not just the CG trailer that was shown on the PlayStation stuff about a year ago or sometime earlier. And it seems like they're using a lot of the original voice lines. They brought back some of the voice actors to talk about it, but they're kind of using the same stuff. And as gorgeous as the game looks, also keep in mind that they seem to be using the PS2 animation framework. So it's that's not a bad thing. It'll feel accurate, but it'll just look better. Go ahead, Steven.
Yeah, they said from the get-go that while just paying them like a royalty check, that they are just using all the original audio and kind of just remastering the audio so it sounds better. So that's much easier. That's what Silent Hill HD Collection should have done, as you know, paid the voice actors.
Yeah.
And I think this is a good idea because this is just opening up to more people again. Because how many times can you keep releasing the collection and then people want something new? But they had a legacy video that the YouTube series they did, and yeah, you can get a collector's edition of this baby. So
it's always fun seeing David Hayter come back and ham it up. Like that man was always so good at being Snake, and then they just replaced him with Kiefer Sutherland. So, Chase, this one you're interested in? You play any Metal Gear?
I'm a big Metal Gear fan, so I'll probably end up getting this at some point. I don't know if I'll get it day one right away, but I like 3. I'm trying to think if 3 was... I think for me, Metal Gear Solid 1 was still my favorite out of all of them. But
I'm a 2 guy. I always had fun with 2. Just that
2 was good.
Was so good.
I enjoyed playing all of them, to be fair. They're just fun games.
The last time I played
I think 3 was for me, had some of the most unique or funny bosses, especially on like how to take them on.
Yeah.
And also, not spoiling anything, obviously, but whenever you defeated the boss, they would scream their name and explode. And I'm like, okay, it's over the top, but it's awesome.
The best one is still the end, where you could literally just go into your system's like clock settings and up the years, and then he would just be gone because he was so
the
old.
intent was you would turn the game off and come back within, I think, 2 weeks, and he just died of old age, which is great. But the last time I played Metal Gear Solid 3, people are going to either love this or hate me for it, was the 3DS version. Because I loved that version. It was so good.
That thing's worth a lot of money.
Really?
It is probably one of the rarest 3DS games out there now.
I think I have like 2 of them. Because I played it, the boys played it. Huh. All right.
Yeah, everybody wants it, so it is super rare.
You can't have it. It's mine. My kids will get it when I die.
It's mine. It's my hobby.
It's mine. Yeah. All right. Jumping into another nice little remake here. So I just wanted to mention this one really quick just because it is a classic series. But Age of Mythology Retold is coming out September 4th of this year. It's just going to be on Xbox and PC. I'm curious to see how the controller support works out. That's the main thing I wanted to talk about because they've gotten better with controller support for a strategy game. I know a lot of you guys aren't really excited about it, but I have fun with these. I mean, for crying out loud, I just bought Command & Conquer for the N64. So I actually do play them some. Maybe we'll get some form of keyboard and mouse support for the Xbox. That is possible, which would be cool, but we'll see. So, all right. Moving on to the next little unveiling. Perfect Dark. We still don't have a date for this, but we have actually seen the game now, which is great. I thought it had a good showing. The trailer started off with Joanna jumping out of a plane in the middle of a sandstorm because we knew from previous trailers from a couple of years ago even that this was going to take place, or at least part of it, in Cairo. So we knew there was going to be sandstorms and stuff like that. But you see her jump, fly down, takes her helmet off, and sees, how her design is, which I like the design of her. I think, it looks like a person. Doesn't have to be a model and everything else. It's just a damn person. It's another one of those that, of course, everyone's losing their damn mind, going like, "Oh,
jawline."
She doesn't look womanly
my God.
enough." It's like, have you seen a woman? They look different, man. They're not all the same.
Other
It's
two
not
are
a Lego.
CGI. This
All of
one's
us
real.
do.
This one's based on a real person. How dare they?
I like the parkourness of it. It reminds me of Mirror's Edge.
That was a surprise to me too. Like they showed some of the gameplay. She's sneaking around. You can use they said this was in-game engine for that and cinematic, so we're getting a pretty good idea of how it runs. They showed a lot of options for stealth, like you can kind of almost Deus Ex your way around the maps, where you can pick how you go through things using gadgets or other stuff. The parkour, Rachel, that you talked about, did feel a lot like Mirror's Edge. Like they were jumping onto a pipe and running up.
I think that'll bring a lot of people in, actually.
Well, it's a good use. I mean, she's a spy. She's supposed to be able to crawl around and do all this stuff.
Yes.
Combat looked pretty good. The way they were handling the guns and everything. It seemed like you could also trigger particular events. So they might have it where you can target and kind of do assassinations that way again. So
yeah, some of those seemed like a Batman takedown. So I'm like, I don't know how much of that is scripted. I did appreciate throughout this whole showcase, though, that Xbox was always letting us know in-game engine, gameplay, cinematics. Like,
yeah,
they always just like laid it out there right in the beginning, saying what you're seeing is real, or we're just gonna tease you.
Yeah, because it's been that's been a big complaint for a lot of people for both Xbox and PlayStation stuff. Like, you're showing us these things. What is real and what is not? We don't know. So at least this gives us an idea. All right, on to the next one here. I wanted to mention this one really quick just because Diablo 4 has been fairly popular, but they showed Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred coming out October 8th, which is their first full expansion. But even if you're not playing it, good God, that trailer was really well done with some nasty body horror. Like, what the hell?
That, and I'm going to say it right now, nobody is better than Blizzard at doing trailers, because half the time you'd forget that you were watching a CG because it was so like well animated. I'm like, holy crap, that is Uncanny Valley.
I came out of it going like, I'm probably not going to play this, but I kind of want to. Like, I just want to see more of that. Like, that's when her arms split open, I was like, that's some Freddy Krueger shit.
At least they warned you in the beginning. They're like, some shit's about to go down, so send the kids out.
Yeah, no, good call, because they went dark and then they went funny with this whole thing. So speaking of funny, they went to Fable, which we're now getting a date of 2025. And I'm still sold on this game. I'm loving how funny it seems to be because it's not taking itself seriously. It should not.
I don't think any Fable game ever really has, which is totally on brand for it. So,
but I like the fact they start off with another, like, they're bringing in actual actors to play these roles, which is great. Because, we had Richard Iota, being a giant in the last big trailer that we saw. And then we have a new guy, what is his name? Humphrey, I think, where he's like a retired, like he was the greatest hero in the area. Now he's retired and he's just kind of lazy and doing stuff. And I'm still liking the character they show. The girl that they have there, once again, just looks like a damn person. If you're adventuring and running around, you're not going to be in a dress or a swimsuit. You're going to be dressed like that. You're going to be sword fighting. It's fine.
So Humphrey is voiced by British comedy actor Matt King.
Mm-hmm.
So
his face is done with it too. They did really good with the faces. Mm-hmm. So in this trailer, we finally got to see gameplay of, fighting, exploration, some magic, jokes about the story. And I have a feeling as these trailers all come out, it seems like they're kind of combining together to tell a story of a group. Because we're hinting at a third member in this trailer that's, I guess, turned into a villain that used to work with them, and they're finding other people. So I'm wondering if this might be like a multiplayer type thing, like as an aspect of maybe co-op, getting that old group back together and you can play as different ones. I'm not sure. Steven, go ahead.
I really hope there's still the staples, which is like the customization of your character and the changes depending on your choices. I was surprised and happy to find out that Eidos Montreal, since there's no more Deus Ex, sorry guys, is helping with the development of Fable, helping Playground Games. So I was like, okay, so they're gonna iron out any stuff
kinks
that they're not fully versed on. So I think it's gonna turn out to be really well done.
Yeah, it should be fun.
I still find it funny this engine was the same one used to make Forza. Forza Horizon.
I hope I can kick a chicken still.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Use an engine that works,
Oh, it works. Good God. I agree. Like, I do hope you can customize your character, which you've been traditionally able to do.
I don't see why you wouldn't.
But what people are getting mad about, and I still don't understand this whole rage about this, like the character looks absolutely amazing to me.
I think it's more because the trailer makes you think that you are going to be shoehorned into being a specific character, and if they do that, then it's going to be a Dragon Age 2 problem where it's like, I don't want to be story character. I want to be me. So that's what they're used to. When Dragon Age 2 did that, it lost a lot of fans.
And it's not even the first time you
went
happened.
from building up your character in Dragon Age 1, you got to Dragon Age 2, and they're like, oh, you have to be a guy with a scar across his nose. And you're like, who? So.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, even if I have to play as her, I think it'll be fine. But I don't think that's going to be the case. Every Fable has had a token character, like the one that's on the box art, the one that they normally use for advertising and stuff.
It's just been so long. That's why I think some people were confused. So, like,
I don't think it's so much confusion.
Fans are gonna probably be like, "We're gonna trust you guys that you guys know how Fable works." Right. And then there's other people who are like, "I don't like what I see." But
it's a lot of people that are throwing a fit about stuff, and we'll talk about this later because there's another game they're once again throwing the stupidest fit about, because you're having to play as a girl possibly, and doing these things, and I'm like, you guys are fine with it with Tomb Raider, and hey, surprise, Samus is a woman, and it's a video game, people get over it. Right. So I have a feeling she's going to be one of the marquee characters, but I think they're going to let you at least choose or customize beyond that. And even if you have to play as her, you're still going to be able to change a bunch of other stuff. I'm fairly sure. Like, it's not going to be the end of the world.
Even when she showed up and said she's back at the end of the trailer, he was still speaking to you. So.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying, like, I think there's going to be more trailers that kind of expand on this story. And I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of sold on it. Also, they mentioned giant frogs and it looks hilarious. But like Fable, what was it? Fable 3, they kind of limited the customization on that one a little bit more. You could still be a guy or a girl and then choose your stuff, but it was kind of locked in for certain stuff. They went more story based. So it's not completely.
That was actually my favorite of the trilogy so far. I beat that game 3 times. So
I thought 2 was a better game, but 3 had the better multiplayer. I think they kind of mixed and matched with that. Like 2 was the rough multiplayer, and then
because I felt 3, like, the choices I made affected the world more because you were a king or queen. So pretty nice.
Fun fact, I have the Chinese release of that game, and it does work in my Series X. It just loads up the American one, but I'm like, it's funny seeing Fable 3 with a bunch of Chinese on it.
That is interesting.
I found it in a store one time, and I was like, this is great. I have to get this. So I think we're all kind of excited to play this one, and I think it's going to be really funny, which is all I want. I just want good British-ass humor in a wonderfully weird wizardy world. I'm good with that. All right, so moving on to the most possible opposite thing we can get, Frag Punk, which is a multiplayer first-person shooter console exclusive to the Xbox, surprisingly. Kind of felt this would have been everywhere, but it's Xbox and PC, so that's a shock. The only reason I wanted to talk about this one, like the art style and stuff is great. It's that cyberpunk look. But what's intriguing me is this mechanic where you can break cards, which will change the rules or change the world around you in real time. And I've seen longer gameplay stuff they did afterwards that showed more, like, they get really crazy with the metaphysical stuff.
I like the story because it was actually pretty funny. It was almost like Groundhog Day, the way he kept trying to go into the hallway to defeat the enemies.
What was the Tom Cruise movie where he keeps dying and coming back? Because they changed the name on that. Like
Edge of Tomorrow, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. It kind of reminded me of that.
So finally, they gave him mementos to try this, and he's like, okay, crunch.
So yeah, this is not going to be for everybody, but it just looks fun. Go ahead, Chase.
I think the biggest thing that comes into question with anything that's just multiplayer competitive related is going to be balancing, and if they actually get it right.
Yes. And I don't know how they're going to balance these cards without it getting some, the meta where everyone wants the same set of cards.
Well, I think the unfortunate problem that every one of these games falls into is that, and this is one thing where I think like Twitch and YouTube are kind of a detriment to the genre, is the fact that you're going to always have people that they're going to try to find ways to break the game and they're always going to find like that loadout that's always going to be the fastest to kill somebody, the best for like every situation.
That's the meta, that whole thing. Yeah.
Don't forget the negative stigma around calling anything a hero shooter.
Yeah,
that killed everybody's excitement for Concord. So,
Yeah, I think the trailer killed everyone's love for Concord. They did that to themselves because that was like, hey, we have dollar store Guardians of the Galaxy. We're going to make it worse.
Now that was a state of decay.
But all right, on to our next one. So Winter Burrow coming early 2025. This is an Xbox console exclusive as well, but it's a very adorably drawn. It's a kind of like a 2D art in a 3D world. It's a city mouse exploring the wilderness as it came to find out what happened to its family and its home. It's super tiny.
Cute little mouse. You got a big tail.
It's Pentiment with mice.
I don't know if I'm gonna play it, but it looks cute. Like I don't know.
I mean, this is the.
You can play it whenever you want on Game Pass.
I don't really. I don't have an Xbox, so a lot of these games are kind of mostly inaccessible to me. I mean, yeah, they're coming on PC, but I'm pretty specific with my PC games, so I don't know.
I think this one will be pretty compatible with a lot of PCs. I could honestly, Rachel, I have a feeling you're gonna play this one.
I don't know.
I'll put money on it.
I think you might lose, buddy boy, but okay.
What if I bought it for you?
I mean,
hedging my bets.
That's
it just seems like the type of game you'd probably like. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. I just put a bunch of stuff on my wish list from like Steam from that one indie thing that happened. So
Oh, okay. All right, so here's the next title I'm actually kind of excited about. So we have Mixtape coming 2025, and this one I'm enthralled with because I don't know, it could be a console exclusive from the developers as a timed one, but it all takes place in the 90s, like the mid to late 90s, which is my high school years, my teenage years. So this is going to be featuring music they listed off from Devo, Roxy Music, Lush, The Smashing Pumpkins, Iggy Pop, Sioux and the Banshees, Joy Division, and a bunch of other ones. So it's got that stop motion style art, and I'm really curious to see what other 90s things are going to show up. Like, are we going to have portable CD players? Are we going to, that was the heyday of VCRs, and they seem to be kind of getting into trouble as they're doing stuff and going into weird hallucinogen areas. One dude was on a dinosaur. Maybe you're tripping. I don't know. But I'm intrigued. At least I just really want to try it. Everyone else is like, you're old.
Get this physical, fellas, because it's not going to last on digitally for long.
Yeah. Licensed music, and this will just be it. So, anybody else even curious on this one, or is it just me? I'm just kind of wondering. Nope, just me. All right. Moving on.
I'll give it a shot.
Oh, okay, cool. Because it's on Game Pass. Next up, Life is Strange Double Exposure, coming October 29th. This one's coming, of course, to Xbox, PS5, PC. And then they have the pre-order deluxe, where you can play the first few chapters a few weeks early, which people are not too happy about.
They're why would you make a murder mystery game and then basically gatekeep by saying, if you pay more money and get the deluxe version, we will give you the ability to play the first few chapters a week or so early. If it was any other type of game like Star Wars Outlaws or something, like they're already doing that, like 3-day early access, it would be fine. But this is one where people are just like, why are you doing this? You never did this before. And now in the world of spoilers, like you're going to put that out there and people are going to be racing to try to speed run the game and get the most clicks. So people are like, don't do this. Please don't do this. But it's already been done.
Because I
know who developed this, so I'm like, this is on brand for them.
Oh, jeez.
It is though.
Well, I had to stop and think about it because I was like, well, I've done a few games like this. I got the collector's editions to play Forza Horizon 5, Forza Motorsports, as well as Starfield a little bit early when I got those editions. But the more I thought about it, Of course, racing games, no one gives a shit. If you...
Yeah, that's not a whodunit.
I have a Corvette.
Like who drove? Who killed Mr. Burns with the limousine? No,
right. And then even Starfield, that game has so many possibilities. It's like, hey, you get to play this D&D thing, a month early, and everyone's like, oh wow, we get to see one possible of God knows how many.
Whether there's multiple endings to this or not, it's still a fact that it's a whodunit murder mystery because it says that in the beginning. But then you're going to give people early access to it. I was like, no.
Yeah, I can see why that would be a gripe for some people and kind of a weird decision. Just release everybody at the same time, give them a chance. Because even day one games, you're going to have people that review it that tend to be stupid and leak something or put something out wrong. Or day one, they're putting out videos.
Yeah, and I've seen people do that before where they're like, we're not going to give you a review code until the game actually releases because of the story content. Or they're like Atlas and they're like, you can't talk about it, you can't stream it until we deem it appropriate. So
I don't know. I've tried playing them. I've never really clicked with the Life is Strange games. I know people love them. I keep feeling like I'm kind of hitting a wall when I try and play them just because it can't catch my attention. But that's a me thing. Have you guys played any of the Life is Strange games?
No, but I have friends that are absolutely obsessed with them.
It seems like it's one of those series, like you either are all in or you just bounce off it. And that's not a bad thing. That's just how some things are.
It's definitely exactly like that kind of thing. I will say one of my friends was a little bit like bothered at the change in art style. It's not really a big change, but like a lot of character faces has changed. And I was like, you got to remember when these games first came out. The technology has changed very rapidly over the last.
I think it's also supposed to show like she's grown up. Like this
and
is
exactly,
years
I'm
later.
like,
yeah.
One, she's older now. Two, the developers are older now. And all of there's a bunch of like stuff going on. I'm like, you really can't be mad about that. If they use the exact same everything that they did from the previous game, nobody would want this. Like, yes, the people who've played it before and love it would get it, but they're trying to also get more people as well. You have to keep growing.
They stuck with that, like with Monkey Island or something. It's like that's changed so much.
Yeah,
I got Life is Strange when it first came out. I haven't played it yet, but then the longer I waited, it seemed it was so popular. There's like, for me, it's fatigue because I'm like, I don't know where to start now. There's Life is Strange 1, there's 2, there's before this, after this, there's Captain Underpants or whatever that one was. There's like all these Life is Strange adventures and side paths and side stories, and I'm like, I don't know where to begin. And I'm like, oh look, years, and I'm like, I'll play something else.
when they get a series that really launches, they milk it. They absolutely milk it for everything that they possibly can milk it for.
Pretty much. All right.
Corporate greed.
I don't have those in here now. Rachel will have to make us a new corporate greed.
Corporate greed.
I got to give you your recording in a live voice. Very consistent. You're very good at that.
Thanks. I trained in radio.
I do remember. That's how we met.
Yes.
As I walked in all awkwardly, like, oh, we're going to do a radio show? Okay, let's figure this out. All right.
And I was like, hello.
I was like, who the hell is this? I was here with Caleb. What's going on? Oh, man. All right. So next up, this is another big one that I'm excited for, and I'm liking what I see. I know people are complaining about it because they were like, oh, it's too much cinematic. And I'm like, yeah, it's Indiana Jones, guys. So it's Indiana Jones and the Great Circle coming out later in 2024.
The thing I've been hearing was they wanted more third person than first person. But I heard that you'd be able to choose.
I think they do third person for certain functions. It's almost like Metroid Prime backward. Right? Basically, Metroid Prime, you're playing in the first person until certain actions require you to do third.
So it's Metroid Other M.
Oh, it's Other Indie. But this is looking great. Yeah. I loved what they showed, the hints of gameplay, and then the whole argument on the boat felt like I was watching one of the movies again. Like I was perfectly great with it. Yeah, the dude, the German guy losing his shit over American cartoons was the funniest thing I'd seen that whole day. Like it's your American cartoons, choo-choo. I'm sure I'm gonna not the best accent, but whatever.
I will say I am a big Indiana Jones fan. if my computer will handle it, I will get this on PC.
Nice.
But if it cannot for whatever reason, I will just ask my friends to stream it, and I will watch it and live vicariously through them.
Rachel, if you do that, I will have to stream it so you can watch it with me, because I am a huge Indiana Jones nuts, and
beat it by osmosis.
Yeah, we'll just go through it together. I would love to do that.
I can help. If it's got any puzzle sequences. It's here. I'm looking at it right now.
Well, it's Indiana. There's gonna be tons of puzzles.
It's literally like on top of a box under this table here. I've safely nestled it there.
You should have put it on right as we started the section.
I can't reach it. It's over. It's too far away. But
use your whip.
I don't have a whip.
Well, that's disappointing.
It's like the Grail. I can reach it. I can almost get it.
Just let
Indiana.
It go. And I didn't mean that bad. That was an actual just joke, not anything. Yeah. People, get your minds out of the gutter.
Literally walked right into that one, I guess.
I did not even think that. Sorry.
It's all right.
But this is being made, of course, we know, by Machine Games, who are well versed with their great pedigree of punching Nazis in the face. And once again, another trailer that has a rhythmic to the music, just punching a Nazi in the face. And I'm like, this is so great. I love that they actually do it with the beat. For like 3 or 4 hits. Yeah. And then, of course, Chase, thanks for adding this, because I forgot about it earlier. Troy Baker is voicing Indiana Jones, which we got Harrison Ford's likeness. He paid the money, or he got paid the money, and they put it out to get that. Troy Baker does a really good younger Indiana Jones. I think his voice fits to the point. It does not.
Yeah.
I don't disconnect. I'm not looking at it going, this sounds weird. It fit. It just flowed like an actual movie did. And I'm excited to play this and whatever weird quips he's going to come up with. So just once I want him to yell, this belongs in a museum.
Oh, I imagine there's going to be all kinds of
you saw at the end of the trailer that there's bound to be some legacy stuff where he's like, I remember when I had to outrun that boulder, because they showed it.
Yeah, I kind of wish they hadn't shown that. That would have been a great, and I wonder if that's going to be, maybe you play that mission as the opening training.
Well, that makes me think, like, are you going to do DLC where you just have, where it's called Indiana Jones Greatest Adventures, where you have to do just his action sequences? That would be great.
I think.
Thanks, Steven. You're going to spend my money now.
Listen,
I'll do it.
I think that's a great idea, and I'm once again looking forward to the quirky one-liners that are always present in Indiana Jones things.
Yeah, it had to be snakes, didn't it? And I saw someone was talking about, like, we're gonna have challenges, people playing this thing, like, can we beat the whole game using just the whip? And I'm like, that sounds kind of fun. Like, I know you can't do that for everything. I'm sure they take your whip at some point, but there's going to be
somebody who, like, mods it on PC so you can beat it with just the Wiimote.
You know, I would not put it past the modders.
If we can play Elden Ring with a dance pad, we can certainly do a Wiimote for Indiana Jones.
Oh my God, using half of a Switch controller for all the main functions, and then just a Wii remote to control the whip. God dang it, I would play that. That's great. All right, moving on to our next one here. So this one I wanted to talk about because John got excited and I was just laughing at it. Steven, take a nap. Mecha Break coming out in 2025.
He's Xbox taking a mega break on this Mecha Break.
God damn, that's a good one. The game feels like a mix between Virtual On meets Gundam and Robotech. Like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, it's kind of cool that you can customize these mechs and fight people, but then it's rumored to be a 50v50 battle royale. Which that's a shit ton of robots. That's so many robots.
That's Mega Mechs.
God. That's an old school space Gundam fight right there when they just had tons of things coming in.
Mega amounts of mechs all on screen at one time. God. I wonder how freezy and that's gonna be.
Yeah, what's this?
Probably gonna Mecha Break.
No, yeah, probably is. Imagine if you're building your own robot, right? Is that part of it? I'm assuming.
Yeah, and you can customize and build them.
People get them super customized, and if they have all kinds of crazy bright colors and flashy stuff, that imagine the frame rate drops.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those games they
stuttering.
play to make sure your kids don't have epilepsy.
It's
Here you go. Play
gonna
this
be-
for a minute, Tommy.
Mhm.
Well, he's good. He can't play this. Oh man. But yeah, I'm curious. I guarantee John's going to play this one, and I want to see how this ends up looking. All right, on to the next one. Wuchang Fallen Feathers coming 2025, Series X, S, PS5, and PC. It looks like another Souls-like, which we had a couple that we've already kind of skipped. But the only reason I liked talking about this one is I like the idea that you seem to be a monster hunter that's talking about monsters that eventually turn into these things, or people that turn into these monsters, and you yourself are slowly turning into one. So I was like, how's that mechanic or story going to work where you're fighting against that other side? Also, it's really pretty. It looked really cool. Steven, go ahead.
My favorite part of the trailer was when they put a big blood streak and then they put a quote, and everybody thought that was the title. Everybody thought that was the title. They were like, "Oh, no one changes tomorrow," or whatever it was.
Right.
I'm like, that's a cool name. And then it's like Wuchang Fallen Feathers, and they're like, "Oh, that's the game."
Oh man,
it's like you shouldn't have a quote behind a splash.
Right. They tend to think that's the title. All right, moving on to our next one. Steven can take his nap again. So this one I'm excited for, that I've been waiting for a while. It's Avowed, which we got to see more gameplay and stuff for, coming out later this year. Xbox and PC exclusive. I still love the vibrant use of color. Like a lot of games like this where they're, mystical lands and different places you go to, even some of the ones like the old like Skyrim and stuff, always felt kind of bland. And this one's using not just color, but like really pop, vibrant fluorescence. You've got big, bright purple and pink things and stuff like that are going through. But what I'm excited for, not just exploring this world, which seems like it's got a variety of places, but also the way the fighting mechanics work, because you can swap between different types on the fly, where you can use wands and swords and stuff like that, where you could freeze something and then smash it, or, do whatever. I see potential. I understand they didn't have the best showing when it first showed, because it was kind of confusing. But I think from some of the interviews they've done since and some of the other trailers, it makes more sense, at least to me. So I'll be playing this. Maybe I'll stream it. Steven can just be on there and laugh at me about it.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
So I'm still sold on the main art, the key art, that skeleton with all the stuff growing off of it. I was like, that looks cool to me. Like, I like it. So I don't know. Rachel, this can be another one you can watch me play.
Probably.
Yeah, fair enough. And not everyone's going to be excited for everything. You just have to remember that. Steven just hates what I like.
And nobody really likes what I like, typically. Very rarely.
It's a common theme. Get used to it.
God. Jason, did you mean that in general, or did you just try and burn Rachel? Because she will destroy you.
I was talking about Swan.
We got
Swan hating everything that
Rachel's
that
just like, what the shit?
Swan hates everything that everybody enjoys, unless it's Nintendo.
Moving on. So, next up, this one kind of caught me by surprise, is Atomfall, coming out in 2025. It's the first time we've heard or seen anything from this, at least for me. I don't know if this was ever announced anywhere else. This is from Rebellion, the creators of the Sniper Elite series, which that also threw me when I saw this. It's an open world, but it feels like a World War II science fiction fantasy post-apocalyptic but not game. Like, I can't even explain what I saw.
So
Rachel, you read more on this one.
Okay, so it's inspired by a real world nuclear disaster that occurred in northern England in 1957. But then it follows a fictional storyline where you find yourself in a quarantine zone 5 years after the event. So you get to explore the countryside, villages and different settlements, and just meet people that are generally very odd, cults, rogue government agencies, that kind of stuff. It's open world, and you can seek the truth out at your own pace. It's obviously single player survival action. And it kind of blends post-war Britain with the like Cold War paranoia, Red Scare, all that. It's got elements of folk horror and then also classic British sci-fi. So I'm thinking like classic Who with the way that they did their robots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So looks very interesting from the trailer. It's got a lot going on. I personally have not played the Fallout games other than my brief experience with Fallout 76, which then I promptly uninstalled because it wasn't my vibe.
It's very different from normal Fallout games, just so you're aware.
Yes, but I also did not play the normal Fallout games either. I'd watched them be played. So this might be something I watch other people play. Definitely. And it does look interesting for sure, and I'm intrigued by the time period. So
yeah,
go ahead. Rebellion has a good pedigree, so I usually follow whatever Rebellion makes.
Oh,
I was watching the trailer and I was like, oh, this seems like a World War II type game. This is kind of, wait, why is there a robot? What is it? What is
I was
going
not
on?
interested until I saw the word Rebellion, then I was just like, okay, I'm ready.
I'm done.
All right, I'll try it.
Hope it's going to be co-op.
I think it's single player. Yeah. It's one of those where you're by yourself exploring this world.
Maybe they'll have a co-op DLC with bullet cam. I don't know.
Yeah, can you shoot people in the testicles and see it go through? It's like that's their type of game. Oh Lord. All right, moving on. Assassin's Creed Shadows coming out November 15th, 2024. Also with Atomfall, they're both coming to Series X, S, PS5, PC. You can play as between a samurai and a ninja assassin. And I would just want to point out the people that are also losing their shit about this game. It's historically accurate. Get over it, dumbasses.
Apparently, they didn't play Neo 2 because the samurai was in that too.
Yep, and yeah. I mean it looks cool. Like I kind of want to play it. What was that, Jason?
Just to say the character that's based off Yasuke, he's quite popular in like media right now, and I think the biggest reason why though is because after the events that happen at the historical events that happen at Hinoji Temple, there's no written record on him, so it's just kind of like you could just do whatever, right? Like there's no anything that you have to like stick to or adhere to.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these games you still take with a grain of salt. They're going to be dramatized and stuff like that. Steven, go ahead.
I do appreciate that they're changing up the formula, like we're going to see with other IPs that even Nintendo has. You change up the formula. I love the fact that you can basically just play the game like Neo 2, or you can play the game like Tenchu. And I was just like, oh, this is fantastic, because I saw the Ninja Assassin gameplay, and it was just like Batman Arkham, my favorite parts, where you're just sneaking around, and I was like, this is great.
Yeah, this is the first Assassin's Creed in a number of years. I'm actually like, hey, I want to play this now. Like, it seems fun.
It's exactly what I was just about to say. Might be the first one I play in a long time.
Because I think Assassin's Creed 4 was the last major one that I played. Like, I played a little bit of 3, and then I would kind of dabble with some of the ones afterwards.
So you played Black Flag, which is the good Skull and Bones. Okay.
Right. The actual pirate ship and playable thing. So, all right. Moving on to our next one. So this one we've been in development for a while and waiting for, but understandably they've kind of been going through some shit. Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl. It is not Chernobyl, it's Chernobyl. It's meant to be a different kind of fake place based on the real one. This is coming out September 5th as an Xbox and PC exclusive. The studio that made this is having to survive and go through a very real and still ongoing war with Russia invasion of Ukraine, because they live in Ukraine. They have had members of their team that have lost their lives defending their home, and people that were complaining this game is taking too long or so forth. Just get over it. Thankfully Xbox gave them all the time they needed, offered to give them whatever they wanted, tried to get them out if they wanted to. Some of them wanted to stay and fight, but they gave them that leeway. And I'm shocked, even going through all of that, how good this game looks. Like, it should not look this good for everything that's going on. And I'm very intrigued to explore this world a little bit more. I've dabbled in some of the older Stalkers, Or the older?
Yeah, the older ones are on PlayStation and Xbox, so you can kind of play them.
They just got remasters too.
Yeah,
so you can mess with those. But yeah, this new one, I know you can fight a bear, and that thing looks vicious. So we'll have to see on that one. Anybody else play any of the old Stalkers or messed around with them at all?
I'm interested in this, but
okay.
Been playing the collection, the remaster collection.
How is it?
Dabbling in it. I like it. I do really like it. But this one definitely looks, just from watching the trailer stuff, it definitely seems like there's going to be more of an emphasis on gunplay in this one. It's going to be just a lot tighter and better feeling, because that's the old ones that I'm playing now. They're definitely, it's a little bit clunkier and stuff, as you would expect from an older game, though. So I'm not upset about it by any stretch.
Yeah, it's older PC games converted to console, so there's going to be some changes for that too that probably feel kind of clunky.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm excited for it. That's one I'm going to end up getting. There's a lot of games this year. It's just going to be freaking broke.
September's stacked.
Yeah, September's going to break me financially. I actually ended up making the decision. I don't think I'm going to make it to Dragon Con this year because I'm like, I can't afford it, man. You expect me to do that and then come back and pay for this? Hell no.
Unless someone paid for me to go, I would not go to Dragon Con this year. I'm too busy, especially after my California trip.
I wanted to go and I've missed the last 2 years and I hate it, but I may have to just skip this year.
I have not been since 2019, so...
Well, it sucks because now that I've actually gotten into doing some kind of cosplay, and I'm like, I could actually do this now, and So,
to paraphrase Joe Exotic, I may never financially recover from this.
Seems like it. Especially after the Nintendo Direct when we get to that. It's
like
financially, screw you, buddy. So, all right, I'm going to jump around our notes a little bit, cover the games, and then we'll talk about the hardware here. So, next up is one Chase just has no interest in. Gears of War E-Day. So, Chase isn't going to want to play this. To be announced. Nope. We don't know the actual date. I'm surprised he's not cussing at me right now. Son of a bitch. This is a prequel, not a reboot. Which for some reason people were actually hoping it's a reboot. They're like, oh, 5 is terrible, throw it out. I'm like, we're playing through 5. I'm still enjoying the story. I know it's not the best, but keep it going. It's fine. But we get to see Baby Phoenix and the return of Dom. And I say Baby Phoenix just because he actually has no facial hair.
Batista.
No Batista. So we got Dom back. Looks like we're probably going to see the beginning of the Chainsaw Lancers because the gun in the trailer, which mind you, this trailer, and this was an argument point that came up, it is all in-game in-engine footage that they did. The company that did the trailer used those assets, used the stuff they're working with on the game, because they had to come out and what's his name that was doing the Summer Game Fest.
Jeff Keighley.
Jeff Keighley was saying like, oh, it's a great CGI trailer. He's like, no, it's not that. So they're hoping this
is caught a little bit of heat for that.
Yeah. I mean, we are finally getting to the point. Some of these games you look at them, you're going like, oh, that's CG. Oh no, it's real time. Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, they said the 2 things they wanted to focus on here is they wanted to, one, kind of show like the birth of the Lancer, and they wanted to make the Locusts to be actual like scary antagonists now and not just fodder like they've been in 5 and stuff like that.
Yeah, because oh, go ahead.
I think it's going to reset a little bit more back to Gears 1, and I think that's but I think also it's a little bit of a push. I think it's a little bit of a tactical push by Coalition to get some of the fans back because they've love it or leave it. I think they've lost a few from 4 and 5, and so this is, I think, a way of kind of keeping people back into the fold. The birth of the Lancer thing's pretty cool. It's going to be really iconic because I mean it's an iconic weapon, right? Like in just video game. I mean, because I think the Lancer even made an appearance in Ready Player One. Like it's just when you think Gears, like you think the Chainsaw Lancer, like the Mark.
Yeah, and they asked Cliffy B what he thought, and he gave the thumbs up, saying, "I'm so proud of what they've accomplished, and he can't wait to see more." So
yeah,
they got his blessing too.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that they're making it more of a horror thing. Because even during that fight with we're talking about just one of those guys was just beating the crap out of Marcus, shoving him into the ceiling, throwing him around. Marcus had to smack him in the face with a CRT, which was great. All the mechanics behind that, I think, are going to play out a lot better. And I wonder how far back are we going to go? Because, like I said, the three of us, Steven, Chase, and myself, as best we can, or at least Chase and I have been playing all of the Gears series co-op, and we're getting Steven in when we get 3 players for the few games. But we're on 5, like we're played through all of them. The only thing we'd have left would be Gears Tactics, and then maybe
and the Funko Pop mobile game.
Oh god,
that got canned.
Yeah.
We'll find old assets and play it.
We'll go through and look at screenshots together. So we've been exploring that. So I still want to see 5's story, and they made it clear we are still going to do that. But I think I agree, Chase, this is kind of a resetting point for some people to bring him back on, for some of the older fans. And I wonder how far back are we going to go? Are we going to see any of the Pendulum War as like a preview part to this, which we've kind of dabbled in on some games? I don't know if it'll go back that far. Maybe this will be right after the end of the war.
I think if we do, it's going to be something like a mission. Like we're going to just get like a mission, maybe like the final push to like defeat the UIR type thing. Like, kind of like what they did in Gears 5, where you get to play as Hoffman and Dom and like the Black Ops squad that steals the Hammer of Dawn thing. The only reason why they did that is because the Hammer of Dawn's such a big like focal point of Gears 5. So I don't know that I don't think I've been saying for a while that they should do just a Pendulum Wars game, because I think it would be very good. And it's also nice
from yesterday.
Yeah, it's nice to just explore that backstory and not just read it in a book that you find.
Yeah.
I wonder if like the Pendulum War parts could be maybe part of the multiplayer, kind of make it more skirmish based with stuff. I'm hoping we still get a horde mode of some kind. I know this predates a lot of that kind of, but
I think we will.
Still one of my favorites.
Horde mode's like such a staple with Gears now. I don't think you could make a Gears without a horde mode.
Well, it's almost like Call of Duty's. Almost all of them have zombies now as a big part of it, because that's such a fan favorite. But I don't know. I'm definitely sold on how this looks, and I really I want to play this one so bad. We have no date for it, which sucks. So sometime in the future we'll get this. All right, and the last game for the Xbox Showcase, Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Steven, drink. This is coming out October 25th, 2024. It's a Call of Duty. We're fully aware of it. This one takes place also in the late 1990s. Probably will not have Smashing Pumpkins, unlike Mixtape. Zombies mode is back. Great. They have a new function for movement, which is kind of cool looking, which is the omnidirectional aiming and diving. Go ahead, Steven.
Yeah, because they did have basically a Black Ops 6 Direct.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have 2 more Directs to show more of the campaign and more of the multiplayer. But the consensus, because I watched other popular streamers react to it, is they said this is what happens when you don't have a deadline of making one every year, because like Warzone's just been filling in the blanks.
Right.
Is they're fine-tuning round-based zombies. They're bringing something they've never had, which is the omnidirectional aiming, like Max Payne 3 multiplayer. And it's just they're taking multiple paths in the campaign, so you can play it more than once. So it's not like a one and done.
I think that's a pretty smart business model. Is do a big game, like a big Black Ops, whatever the last one was, and then do something that will fill the void and have that longevity for them to allow them to take their time to work on the next game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a smart business model, like really. But don't make whatever the filler is too popular that it overshadows and they don't want to make anything else. There's a fine line.
I mean, if it blows up and it's popular, that's kind of what they want. All they care about is if you get the player.
Yeah, they're trying to go back. They're bringing back these maps that have their own stories and stuff. They're bringing back the prestige, what worked and what didn't work. They're kind of trying to basically fine tune everything because they've had the time to do so.
Yeah, the funny thing is, the funny thing is, Rachel, zombies kind of started off like what you're talking about, where they're like, "Oh, it's gonna be a funny little extra," and they're like, "Oh, this really blew up. Okay, we need to keep doing this."
Well, yeah, because nobody does it really like them and they made sure to say it every single time during the direct that it's not just zombies, it's round based zombies because they started that in terms of like how each like thing you have to go through these objectives as something's happening and the rounds get harder and harder. See how far you can make it, see if you can beat the map.
Because that started with World at War, I think.
In the past, they just threw at you like, look at these celebrities. You can play as, Oscar de la Hoya or something. But it's like, okay, who cares? But now they're like, no, let's just put together a really good round-based zombies.
I think also they added the zombies in at the perfect time because when they started doing zombie stuff, zombies was big. In. It was that kind of genre was big. It was in.
I think it was one of the earlier Treyarch ones on 360. They're like, we're going to do this. And it clicked to the point that even Infinity Ward had to start doing it. They were like, oh, okay, we have to kind of bring this in because every time we didn't have it, our sales dropped.
Dudes like shooting zombies, man.
I do. It's great.
Yeah, now you split it up. Like Raven Software doing the multiplayer. Raven Software is amazing at what they do.
Yeah. The only, I was actually excited and wanting to play this. It's the first Call of Duty, just like with Assassin's Creed. It's like, okay, I kind of want to give this a shot. It looks fun. Not for the multiplayer. I don't care much for that. But the single player looks great. But then we have two kind of problems with this. One, this game is going to be over 300 gigs installed.
That's basically an entire console.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, though, that's the campaign and the multiplayer the zombies.
Yes, but that's DLC. basically your entire console.
And they are allowing you to pick which one you want to install because you can pre-install now.
Oh, nice.
And they have a fix for that, which Jeremy will cover next. But they have a fix for your entire console getting taken up by this. But what's the other problem?
The other problem is even for single player, for some weird reason they haven't explained yet, you have to be online. It's an always online game, and that is a huge for me. I don't like single player story modes being online because, if I wanted to get this and buy it and put it on my Legion Go and I want to play this while I'm out and about for the story mode, I can't because I have to be online. So that's kind of a hesitation for me as well. And I want to hear more about why they're doing it, which
I think we have to wait for reviews to see how it works because maybe it's something that's not necessarily needed.
You might need to only be online and it ping the server or whatever once a week or something. So
they seem to kind of make it like you have to be online to play it, almost like this might as well be multiplayer, but you're playing the single player. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, give it a wait and see. I say
because this is one of those things they conveniently did not mention during this direct. It kind of popped up afterwards, like, oh, you didn't want us to hear that.
Yeah, they have the FAQ on their site,
right? We'll see. I mean, it looks phenomenal. If they can explain that one part, I might actually get a Call of Duty again for the first time in a long time. Like them and Assassin's Creed got their shit together. So, all right. So our last bit of the Microsoft news, if you are trying to get Call of Duty, you need that extra hard drive space. Let's talk about it. So they showed off 3 new hardware SKUs. We'll basically call it 2 because one of them is whatever. But they're doing an all digital Xbox Series X, which is in robot white with 1 terabyte storage for $450. They have an all digital Series S, which is a robot white 1 terabyte for $350. They are discontinuing the 1 terabyte all black Series S, which I thought looked cool, but now all the Series S's look white again. Whatever.
Rare.
Right. And then the one that I am actually trying to buy, because I've convinced my oldest son to buy my Series X from me. The special edition Series X Galaxy Black 2 terabyte storage system for $600.
I just have to figure out how to get more space on my PS5, and that's all I can think about every time we talk about terabytes. I got one already.
Yeah,
it's already basically full.
That's one of the things. That's part of what I didn't like about the PS5, because they had the whole argument of like PS5 versus Series X, how they did storage. And it's like, yeah, you can say you put 2 terabytes in your PS5. Cool, you've got more storage, and you fill it up because some of us play a lot of games, and Rachel loves her RPGs, which take up a lot of space. Yeah, I saw that look, Rachel. But then if you want to go larger, say you want to put a 3 terabyte, you got to pay that money for 3 terabytes. But then you have to take 2 of them out. So you're basically rebuying the 2 you've already got just to get 1 terabyte more, because you can't hot swap it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then you have to take your whole PlayStation apart. And I literally, the house I'm in now doesn't have carpet, so that's kind of upsetting. And I had to have my best friend on the phone with me while I swapped this, because I needed I needed audio supervision.
It's scary for sure, because
I was terrified the entire
time. They keep telling you, like, make sure you discharge static electricity every time you put it in, and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta touch a screw or something.
I didn't mind balancing. I did Jeremy's balancing his PS5 on the top of my couch, just taking it apart normal, because I work on this stuff all the time. So I'm just like, well, whatever, move this here, hold this screw, and because I'm more comfortable with it. I know when I have to do it
again, I will have likely somebody with me that is a better.
Just call me, I'll walk you through it.
Okay.
I'll be there. We'll get you on here and do it.
I'm literally,
and that's why one thing I like about the Xbox over the other 2 systems, I'm going to say, is Xbox was just like, for hard drive space, if you can dream it, it'll work. So I literally have a 12 terabyte hard drive attached to my Xbox Series X that holds all that free stuff they give you, like the gaming with gold. So all my 360 and Xbox One games are on there.
Right.
And I don't have to worry about it taking up space. So the system can have the main games.
So you can, I know you can hook up an external drive to the PS5 if you're wanting to play like older titles and stuff like that on it.
Yeah, I use one for my PS4 games.
As long as they're PS4 stuff. And I think a lot of the game catalog you can do as long as you're downloading the PS4 version, and that's a way to save space. So that's something I might do I recommend my library again.
Well, just make sure to check what's the highest one that'll read or understand.
PS5, I think will go to pretty much whatever the limit is you can get right now. Like it's same stuff as the Xbox, which is nice. But what I like about the Series X and S is, it costs a little bit more to get their memory cards, which still trips me out. 1 terabyte is smaller than a freaking PS2 memory card, but I can hot swap it at any time. So while the system was on last night, we were like, hey, we're going to play Gears 5 for a little bit. I was like, oh, it's not on this hard drive. I just popped it out the back, popped the other one back into it, and the game was right there, and I could play it in like within seconds.
I wait and hope that PlayStation does something similar, but the fact of the matter is that even if they do, when they do, it's still going to be an all digital thing. And I don't want to lose my discs. So
it's still like I still use my discs. Like I play Gears 5 off a disc. It's just I haven't.
No, I know. I'm just saying that a lot of these companies seems to be moving toward the digital instead of the disc now, which I think is stupid.
If it's an option, then people can make their choice, but it should never be a requirement.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that's enough about that.
That's what I like about the 2 terabyte, because, I've got 3 terabytes of the cards for the Series X and S that I just swap around the house, because I can just put it in one, move it to the other and everything. When I get this 2 terabyte, when it comes available, I'm going to get the 2 terabyte expansion. So I'll have 4 terabytes in that thing immediately. Fresh to use.
I will say it's, I have to get another memory stick for my Switch, because I have now run out of space again. So
I think I have 1 terabyte in mine. I eventually bought one. I was like, all right, that should be more than enough.
I mean, I had a terabyte, and I still have filled it up because I am crazy, I guess. So
I had to start clearing off all the captures I do, because I'll be like, screenshot or
PS5
video.
PS5 can accept up to 4 terabytes SSD and only up to 8 terabytes external.
Yes.
So don't buy bigger than 8.
Gotcha.
Yep. I remember actually reading about up to 8 external. So
and you can only have one of each. So it's basically internal system and external. If you put 2 externals on a PlayStation, it won't read one.
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
And Xbox can do 2, but not 3. I just looked them both up on their websites.
Yeah, because I know I've had 2 hard drives plugged into mine before, and then I can do an expandable.
You can only plug in one anyway, because there's only one USB port that you can plug it into on the PS5.
Thanks, Sony.
I was about to say there's the USB-C one, but yeah. You hook up your controller.
Yeah.
But part of why I like that Galaxy Black, not just the 2 terabytes, which I want. I play a lot of games. It'd be nice to have that extended memory. But I love the fact it's black with like this silvery or white spice. It looks like space. Yeah, it looks like stars all over it. And then the green. I want to have that on the front of it now. Just a little. I want to get like a plastic sticker and just put it right in the front of him, just going spies.
The Tim Curry sticker with the speech bubble that says spies.
Okay, if I get this Xbox, so help me God, you guys need to help me find that sticker or make it.
I will. Hello, graphic designer here. I will make it for you in Photoshop, but it will be the actual image.
There'll be 2 versions. One for you that says space, and one for Rachel that says I need more space.
Oh my God, that's great.
I always need more space. But anyway,
so I also like the fact it's got that bright Xbox green for the base and some of the highlights, and I'm like, well, that's just right up my alley. I love stuff with annoyingly bright green on it. So real quick, we'll go around. What is your rating? We'll just give it a letter grade for the Xbox showcase for this year. Steven, we'll start with you.
I'm going to give it an A. This is one of their best showings in the last 5 to 10 years.
Agreed. Okay. Chase, what about you?
Same. Give it an A. I really, I liked what I saw.
Okay. Rachel, I know you didn't watch the whole thing. You admitted that. But you can still give us an idea of what you thought of what you saw.
Well, I really liked the Expedition 33, and that entire thing made me really like the just, gave me a positive spin on the entire showcase, even though I didn't watch it. So I give them a solid B because I don't play Xbox anyway. So B is a passing grade for me.
I figured I was wondering if you would go with like the not graded, like that was absent. They're not graded.
For not even having the system, though, that's a good grade.
No, they get a passing grade because they showed one thing that I liked, and that is enough to get a passing grade from me. I'm a fierce grader normally, but I don't play that console, so.
All right, and I'm gonna have to agree with that and go with an A for this. This is hands down probably it's about damn time Microsoft had a showing like this, because they've had a few where you're like, oh, there's a few nice things, but it was a lot of CG trailers, or this.
Or they just dropped the ball entirely. So
no shit, yeah. So it's nice to see.
That was a funny 3. I remember that day.
They finally got their stuff together. Like, hey, you've been buying up and doing all this stuff. You're finally having something to show for it. Keep that up, or else it's gonna screw up. So we'll see. All right, so let's move on to the other major event we have to talk about, which is the Nintendo Direct.
Here we go. This is where Steven and I can actually talk about stuff.
Woo! So, ironically, in this one, we're going to have a lot of this happening.
World premiere.
See, Chase, I managed to find a way to fit it in here for you.
There you go.
I know that's the Xbox sound, but Nintendo, good God, this was...
Nintendo came to play.
Oh, they literally said, Nintendo came for blood. Step up to bat, buddy boy, and so just hit home runs.
Let's preface this. This, everyone expected to be a very subpar Nintendo Direct, because they were like, all right, we are not talking about the successor to the Nintendo Switch. This is mostly covering just what's coming out later this year. So we're like, okay, this is Hospice Switch. We're here around the bed as it's slowly dying, seeing what last bit it gasps out. No, that shit hopped out of bed and just kicked our asses and ran away. Steven, go ahead.
Nintendo really said, hold my sake.
Steven, go ahead.
Yeah, to compliment what Rachel said, they just said, PS2 sold how many? Hold my beer. I'm going after them.
So right off the bat, this actually got Amanda excited, because this is one of her favorite series. And the fact they're making a new one, she was like, where's my Switch? I need to charge my Switch. I was like, oh shit, okay. Mario and Luigi Brothership coming November 7th of this year.
Came out of nowhere, man.
This is people at Nintendo just going, you know what? Oh, you think you can animate? Here's some shit. Like, everything is just so meticulously animated and cartoony. They did confirm some members of Alpha Dream are confirmed to have returned for this. We don't know exactly which ones yet, but some of them are involved. So even though the developer is dead, some of those people were moved to other parts and maintained in doing this. So there's a carryover, which is great.
I will say, the sheer number of Full Metal Alchemist memes that came out of this
with Luigi as Alphonse.
Yeah, was delightful, and I loved every single one of them that I saw. It made my heart happy. Will I play this game? I don't know, but that delighted me.
It was pretty funny. The art design, though, one thing I noticed and was looking at, all of this is done in full 3D, but it's all directly referenced to the 2D promotional and like artwork art from the older games. Not even so much the pixel art, but the actual, like, the hand-drawn art they'd always have on the covers and in the books and in everything. Even down to the fact of, like, Mario, his red will fade into kind of a purple color for the shading. Luigi will go from green to kind of a blue for that. Like, so they look like those drawings brought to life. Like, it's a crazy amount of detail. But yeah, like, this is the year of Mario RPGs. We've gotten Mario RPG from the Super Nintendo brought back in its best form. I'm still playing the living crap out of Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, because that has been addictive and fun. And then now we're getting a brand new Mario and Luigi to just round out all in under a year.
I think this is also going to tell them which one they should continue with, too, because now they're testing the waters.
Well, I think they'll still make Paper Marios. I'm hoping they'll continue Mario and Luigi. The Super Mario RPG, I think, was a one-off because they'd have to deal with Square, and that was kind of carried on with Paper Mario and stuff. But
well, I mean, it's more the style. Like, which style did you like the best?
I just, man, this is so nice. Just wow.
It keeps getting nicer.
It does, because my God, 2 RPGs in a row I got interested in. Because up next, FANTASIAN Neo Dimension, coming holiday 2024. This one has got 3 things that I absolutely loved. Final Fantasy series creator Hironobu Sakaguchi is helping to create this, along with composer Nobu Uematsu doing the music. And then what I love is, like, it's an old school style RPG with an actual battle mechanic that I feel is new, because you don't have to fight everything. You can just pocket stuff that you find in a little dimension and deal with them later en masse.
I don't feel like battling these guys right now. Throw them to another dimension. I'll come back to him later. Then you got to fight them all at once.
But that's fine, because one of the new mechanics, when you do an attack, you'll have, like, the line showing what you're attacking. Like they've done in a lot of RPGs, but now you can bend it and of arch it around to hit multiple things. Yeah, you're basically soccer balling your attacks. And I was like, shit, that looks really fun. I kind of want to play this.
Yeah, it looks good. Like 100%. Looks very, very good.
Well, speaking of looks, well, go ahead. Steven, go ahead.
I also wanted to say that this game now being ported from, it was stuck on Apple Arcade and mobile, I think.
Oh, it was? I thought this was new. Okay.
It finally came here. It was supposed to be Sakaguchi's retirement game, but then when this happened, and this came together, he's uber excited, and he's actually partnered with Square Enix. So he is working with Square Enix again, and Square Enix even put on their post saying, like, we're going to do something with him again because we love FANTASIAN Neo Dimension. And so he's basically pulling what's his name from Studio Ghibli? He's unretiring again.
If I had a nickel for every time a notable creator from video games, films, whatever, was retiring or giving up on something, and then came back, I'd have probably 8 nickels. And 5 of those,
I thought you were going to be like, I have had 2 nickels.
No. I have 8 nickels. 5 of those are from Hayao Miyazaki. The other 3 are from Sakaguchi and Tim Burton.
Like the Rolling Stones. How many times have they had their final goodbye tours and they're just like, we're going to do another one?
Man. Rock and roll die, man. Rock and roll will never die, so I don't know if they'll ever retire.
I was so sad seeing Sakaguchi working on mobile, and I was like, please. But now, whenever I see Apple Arcade, I'm like, it's only a matter of time before it comes to Switch.
Didn't Nobuo Uematsu say that he's never going to make a full game soundtrack again? So
correct. That's this one this one he already did.
He already did.
So he's not having to do it again.
No, thank God.
So I'm okay if like he does little things here and there, and he's kind of
let him do a couple of tracks.
Let the man relax. But if Sakaguchi is feeling the fire, he actually had to get everybody really fever pitched. He actually had a conversation on X where he talked to another guy who worked on Chrono Trigger with him, and he was just like, you know what, we should get together again sometime. And everybody's like, what?
Lord,
it's exciting times.
Yeah, the last thing I wanted to touch on when I found this fact out, I was so happy. And I even put pictures in our notes so you guys could see it. I did not realize they're using a lot of the pre-rendered backgrounds, which is kind of like very Final Fantasy VII, like that era, Final Fantasy 8 and 9. But they made actual models that they photographed in miniature to make a lot of places. And they've got a picture of Sakaguchi holding up one of the models. He kept it from one of the buildings. And then they showed how it looks in its play area. I say play area like a play set, but with the characters running around. And I'm like, this is fantastic. Like you can get such good pictures, and they work for such great backgrounds. And they mix that with CG and stuff, with like water effects and other things. I love miniature photography, and I'm like, that is a big reason I want to play this. I was like, what crazy crap did you do? Because if you look at that building, like all those little details are all over it. It's great.
Oh yeah, it's cool.
So yeah, we're already off to a huge, just like, holy crap with this freaking direct, and it just keeps going. So next up, Mio, Memories in Orbit, coming 2025. This looks amazing. Like it's a very pencil sketch art style. Looks like a Metroidvania type of game. And then it feels kind of like, when they showed gameplay, like a combination of the recent Prince of Persia or a Hollow Knight for some of the fighting. I have not heard. Is this another one that was out that I didn't know about? But it seems new to me. But it looks great. Anybody else interested in this one?
It runs really silky, like a song.
Yeah, they did recently have one of the testers for that going like, hey, we're still making it. They're just bad at communicating. It's okay for Silksong. That's become the longest joke. Like,
you could have called this Silksong and nobody would have been the wiser, though. But that's a different company.
It's like, hey, did you like Silksong? This exists. That'd have been a great tagline at the beginning. You're like, damn. So, all right. Next up, Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. This one's coming out January 16th, 2025. And this is the only one with a date, like the farthest one out. The only game the furthest one out that they announced for next year. It's going to have all the content from the Wii and 3DS ports included. So it's a huge amount of the actual levels and stuff. And it's being ported over by Forever Entertainment, who did the Panzer Dragoon HD. So it is not Retro Studios. No, Retro is a little busier, as we'll see later. And boy, will we see it. This will be the third time I play this. Whatever. I love that game. It's a lot of fun. So
it's nice to see them forgotten about it.
Yeah, I mean, because I had it on the Wii. I bought it on the 3DS. So
just give me a new game, damn it.
Well, that's what Tropical Freeze was for, and then we got that a couple of times. But they're kind of busy.
That's what I mean. I want something else now. I want another one.
Yeah. All right, moving on with another RPG. So, Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake coming November 14th, 2024. And at that moment, we all felt Joey cringe.
Yep.
We love you, Joey, but you hate this art style.
He does so much.
But I love it. It looks so cool. This one was a fun. We kind of knew it was coming. We got the little surprise with it. And then they popped up right afterwards that Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D will be coming, or for the remake, coming in 2025.
The complete Erdic trilogy.
Correct. Steven, go ahead.
It's also going to be the first covers without Toriyama's work.
Oh.
I think they used some of his work for it, though. I thought they said.
Like, well, those are the official covers for the game, because the game's available for pre-order and his art's not on it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood. I thought they used some of his art.
So unless it's, and I was just like, I thought they would have used it. So maybe in the museum mode, which would be a nice send off. But other than that, no, not the covers.
And that kind of makes sense.
So it's an end of a huge era.
Sadly. Yeah, it is. But they did explain, and I was kind of wondering why they did it this way as well, because I haven't played all the older Dragon Quests. But I was like, why is 3 releasing and they're just doing 1 and 2? Well, apparently, Dragon Quest 3 chronologically happens before 1 and 2. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes a ton more sense. So I get that now. So I'll
so much happened in 1 and 2 that people were like, whoa, we need, can we, there are things that need explaining, please. And they went, okay.
Yeah, and they said 1 and 2 you can get through way shorter than 3 was, so that's why they kind of combined them, which is fine. So I really want to play it. I like the games in this 2D HD. I would love to see more games brought back or use that. It was great for Octopath Traveler, and a lot of those games.
I would accept them using this for Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah,
that's the only way I would accept it, because I don't want them to rebirth 6 at all.
Really?
Don't touch it.
Just redo the story, but with that style.
Just give it that style, and I'll be like,
it'd be really good for like the opera scenes and stuff, because it would look like a playset with them on the stage and everything. Like,
can you imagine the multi-layer? Oh, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
But I would 100% have them overhaul the audio for it and like have new orchestrations for 6 and HD 2D, because then they could actually include the opera fully.
I think the best for that I've seen a lot of games doing, and they did this for Mario RPG as well as Paper Mario 1000 Year Door, is to give people the option. You can have the classic music, or you can have the new music, or give people that option and let them play it how they enjoy it.
Yeah, they I saw it live on one of the More Friends concerts in California.
Ooh.
So they could easily from the CDs they released, take that version and just pay the singers again their royalties, because that one was beautifully done and people were crying in the aisle. So
I think, didn't they redo some of those with the CG for like the PlayStation ports of it?
We don't talk about those.
Sorry. My bad.
But yeah, they did.
Okay. So they might be able to use some of that, but apparently not. We just won't talk about it. Real quick, this next part. So these are already available. You can download them now, but the Nintendo Switch Online added Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past 4 Swords, which, awesome. We need to play 4 Swords on our Switches online now, because that's great. Metroid Zero Mission, which my son has already beat in like an hour and a half, and I'm probably going to do it too. And then they added North America. We got the Nintendo 64 18 Plus, which is where they're putting the mature rated games. They started off with Turok Dinosaur Hunter, which already had a really good port that's on the Switch. So that's
remastered already.
Yeah. Play that version. This version's kind of janky as hell. And then Perfect Dark, which is cool to see that come back. I want us to try that for multiplayer if I can get my controls how they make sense. Otherwise, the 360 version, go play that one. It's on the Rare Replay. It plays on an Xbox One. It's fantastic. Go ahead, Steven.
Just a quick side note. This is a separate app for those two games.
It is.
So you cannot just update N64. You have to download this.
Yes.
But Perfect Dark, now with just having the proper control scheme, is going to work great. And I look forward to counter ops where one player can be all the enemies and one player can be Joanna. So that's awesome.
I'm still trying to figure out a good control for it, because this version does not have that unless you have 2 separate controllers. Like, you have to have 2 N64 controllers to do the dual analog. It does not have that built in. So it's kind of, that's why I'm saying the Rare Replay one, way better way to play it, because it has modern controls. Because I wanted to give it a shot again, but it feels weird. But I'm hoping
makes me wonder what else they're going to add, if anything.
That's what I'm wondering, because 18 Plus, you go back and look at the N64, and I'm like, all right, I want Conker's Bad Fur Day. I want Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, that was trending immediately after. I want a Bad Fur Day so bad.
The original Conker's Bad Fur Day.
If you want a swan song for the Nintendo Switch Online, or if it's being carried over into the next system, just give us Conker.
Yep, that's
all. I hope to God
we need.
I think this time, especially because we're doing a service, they can't pull the same BS they've been doing with Virtual Console. This has to carry over just smoothly into the next system, because they've already said that your online stuff carries over.
So with the launch of the second one, give us Conquer. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, it should be. We should not have to wait for them to sprinkle these out. If they do that, that's Nintendo stupid. At that point, like, come on.
Now we get to the one that broke the internet.
Oh God, I'm so happy. So Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics coming out sometime in 2024. I had to stifle from yelling and excitement because I was having to listen to this while we were in a meeting at work. So we're on our protection meeting, and I'm just like, I love these games. And now that we're getting them on the Switch, we're getting X-Men Children of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes, X-Men versus Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 New Age of Heroes, and then lastly, the Punisher arcade beat 'em up for the first time on any console.
Finally.
Yeah. I've only ever played that one via emulation, so I'm glad to be getting an actual functional version. But the beauty is, for all of these games, especially these games, even on the Switch, rollback netcode is being used, which is a godsend for these things being played online for multiplayer. So we might actually be able to play these and enjoy them online without major issue. These are all the arcade ROMs. They're not the console versions. So we don't know the exact version releases for each one. And we also
they have the additions on there.
Oh, okay.
People are looking up which ones they are, because one of them could be the fixed X-Men versus Street Fighter, which people don't want.
Really?
So we'll see.
They should put the fixed ones on there, because the ones that were broken, that's just going to let people that are a-holes be a-holes. And like, they don't take that fun from me. Come on, make it work. Michael's going to hate me for that part. But we also, did they confirm if we'll be able to switch between the US and Japanese releases?
Yes. Just like the previous collection, you can choose which ROM you want to play.
Okay.
For people who, either like to speed run or just prefer that some of the story text goes faster when it's in Japanese as well. So you can switch between the two. And there is some quality of life improvements, as well as like a save state mode.
Nice.
The biggest things is some of these games have the hidden characters or hacked characters just immediately playable with a Switch. And for people who have light sensitivity, they've actually given you the option to turn off the flashing lights on all of the games, not just the newer ones.
I do like that
for
option.
Our friends with epilepsy.
Yes.
Well, remember, if you're going to stream these, turn that on. Even if you like the flashing, keep in mind, people that are watching you, there are people out there this really affects. Just turn it off. Just make it a safety thing. It's not going to change.
It always flash when you would do Gambit Super. Now it doesn't, which looks weird, but it's fine.
Yeah, I'd rather it look weird than, I mean, if you're fine with it, you want to do it in your own house, fine. Well, that sounds weird. But if you're going to stream it or have other people around, maybe turn it off just in case,
There's going to be more people playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2 online this year than in its entire history.
Yep, because it never came online until the 360 PS3 re-release.
Yeah, this is being released on PS4, Steam, and Switch, and it is going to... Oof.
Well, it is skipping Xbox, which a lot of people, myself included, are not that happy about. Like, I'm getting it on Switch. That's great, but I wanted to get an Xbox one as well. But I know, Steven, you're aware of the reasoning. Do you want to try and explain to everyone why?
Yeah, so they actually had interviewed by Windows Central, where they asked about this because they were able to kind of get more technical. And it is because of the MT framework not being supported by the newer systems like PS5 and Xbox Series S and X, because those would take some tweaking to get an older engine like that to work.
Right.
That's why the previous collection released on Xbox One. That's why this one is releasing only on PS4. So yeah, you have that kind of compatibility. But the biggest thing is it is more expensive because Microsoft's not interested in making more Xbox One games, like physical or even digital, it seems. So unless Microsoft steps in to help, they're it's just going to be stuck that way because Capcom wants to, basically wants to cash in on this cash cow because it's a really good cash cow. But I don't think they want to pay extra to make an Xbox version when it would just be prohibitively expensive. So
I think it behooves Microsoft in this case because this is such a groundbreaking collection that so many people want. Give them the budget, help them port this over and get that, even if it is releasing just on Xbox One, that being backwards compatible on Series X and S, even if it's digital only on Xbox, it needs to be there in some form, I think.
Like, hey, Microsoft, if you want to ease the sting of what you did to Tango Gameworks, like, give Capcom a bone.
Yeah. I don't think this will really solve for a lot of that, but this is such a
huge it's not going to solve it, but at least it'll take their mind off it saying, sorry.
Yeah, because that's
send the olive branch.
Because this is one of those gaming collections that people have just thought would never happen. Like we expected maybe we'd get Marvel vs. Capcom 2 as its own release again, but to get 7 of these together is just nuts. And people are complaining, going like they should have added X-Men the beat 'em up. I'm like, you guys are greedy as shit.
Because apparently there's different licensing issues depending on if it's a toy or a video game.
Yes.
And apparently they were able to make the arcade 1-up version of these same exact titles because the toy licenses allowed it to happen really easily. But Capcom probably had to go through more hoops, so to speak, to get it done on console, and everybody's so happy for it.
So the other rumor that's been going around, I'm just going to put to bed. This is not a case of Sony going, well, we own Spider-Man, so we don't want it on Xbox. Because a lot of people keep thinking that, and they have to remember the only part of that license Sony has is of the movies. They don't own TV, streaming, animated, toys, games, stuff like that. They do not have control over that. They probably can, push Disney on that for marketing for certain things as an agreement to be able to get like Tom Holland, Spider-Man and stuff like that in the movies. But that doesn't give them like all powerful control to say like none of these can show up on Xbox. That's just not the case. So I think if they can get past the MT Frameworks issue, this will be on Xbox eventually.
Because there's so many MT Framework games they're missing. So it's part of those things. Part of me thinks it's not going to happen right now. But it's sad. Yeah.
I mean, and that's the other thing. If they break down and get this done, that could open up a bunch of other ones for releasing as well, which...
Because somebody made a list, and there's like 12 games they haven't gotten because of MT Framework. So,
yep. All right, let's move on to our next title here. Hey guys, it's another year. It's another Super Mario Party. It's Super Mario Party Jamboree coming October 17th, 2024. I'm not gonna lie, I actually have fun with these. They tend to be great. Steven, go ahead.
May I just preface this with the last Mario Party game at their financial reports has outsold Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
And Tears of the Kingdom. So
there's a reason. Yeah. Good God. Which I still find it weird they have not done DLC for any of them. Like it just feels like they could just pile on DLC maps and they're just like, no, we're gonna make a new game. You guys are gonna buy it, and here we are. I'm gonna freaking buy it.
Yep.
Yeah.
They know how to make money, I'll say that.
Yep. So they showed off the new boards. We've got 5 of them. There's Rainbow Galleria, which is a mall. Roll'em Raceway, which is kart racing. Goomba Lagoon, which is like an island volcano that the water levels go up and down. And eventually this Goomba-shaped volcano will erupt with a raining of golden Goombas, which I'm guessing that's just going to cover the map and bother everybody. And then they showed pictures for Mega Wiggler's Tree Party and King Bowser's Keep. No real word on how those are going to play.
You see all the characters you can play as? You can play as Ninja from Super Mario Brothers 2.
That's nuts. There's 2 returning boards, which we're getting Mario's Rainbow Castle from the original Mario Party, and then Western Land from Mario Party 2, which I think that's the last one we played together on the Nintendo Switch Online, actually. Over 110 mini-games, which is a lot. And they are still doing the one Joy-Con control so that you can do motion and other options and things, which means, hey, if you've got a Switch Lite, stuff, you have to bring in controllers and good luck. But the craziest part is there is now a 20-player online mode called the Koopathon. So 20 players are competing with each other in real time as they go through a Mario Party, trying to survive such things like, groups of them running from a giant Bowser as the ground is falling out, or they're just all competing to try and...
I can't wait to watch a stream of this. I need
it's gonna be
somebody.
insane.
I need a popular streamer who has 20 other online personalities to play this.
I just have you guys. I mean, I love you, but it's just us. But we're good for normal Mario Party. It'd be great.
Yeah.
And there's still more modes and other options that have yet to be shown. So this seems like a fairly packed Mario Party, even for it being released in a Call of Duty schedule. It feels like like every year, new Mario Party.
I think they've announced everything they could have. They can't possibly top this with their next announcement, can they?
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants to play Mario Party. No one wants to play as a girl. I'm just kidding. They're going to want to. The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, coming September 26, 2024. I was so happy when I first saw this because they were showing Link hooded running through Ganon's castle, but it's the Link's Awakening remake art style, which makes me think Grezzo is working on this. Or Grezzo, or however you say it. But then Link goes in and is fighting Ganon, beats him, and then all of a sudden Ganon's staff causes this hole to open up in the floor like a portal, and Link just gets sucked right in. And the last thing he does, he shoots an arrow off and hits the crystal that Zelda is in, which cracks it. She breaks herself out and then runs from this hole as it grows. And she finally gets her Legend of Zelda and Breath of the Wild moment where she walks up to a cliff face and looks out over this massive Hyrule, and I just dropped something on the keyboard.
That's how exciting it was.
Hey, I can actually...
You're so excited you dropped something.
I can activate that with buttons. I didn't know that. But she's looking over Hyrule, and it kind of gets her moment. And that's when the title screen pops up. And I hate to say it, and I kind of called it when I saw this. There are people freaking out that you have to play as a girl in this, and I'm like, you guys really need to get the fuck over this.
Grow up.
Yeah.
Now
I'm so excited to play it.
Now people can say you finally play as Zelda in The Legend of Zelda, and I'm like, yes, you do.
Yeah. People were joking.
Say, the funniest thing that came out of this was all of the "and here comes Zelda with a metal chair" memes.
Yeah, where that comes from is I'm so glad, and they brought this up, that they did not want it to be just Zelda with a sword. Yeah. They didn't want her just doing Link stuff, because then it's just like, what's the point? Like,
I like that having her build stuff. Essentially, it's not.
Yeah, and I love that it's not this is the only way you can do it. I love that it's how you want to solve the puzzle.
Right, and I love that it's not as complicated and convoluted as the building stuff in Tears of the Kingdom.
Because that was the MO of 2D Zeldas, which I didn't like, was as soon as you got the newest gadget, the whole dungeon was all about that gadget. Yeah. So now it's like, no, there's so many things you can get echoes of. Do it however you want.
The other funny thing was the some of the images that came out, which is like you see an image of Link, he's terrified in this other dimension, and all you see is Link, Zelda going, "I'm coming for you, baby," and she's putting together a table.
So we keep mentioning this, but like Zelda's joined by a fairy called Tri, and then she's given the Tri Rod, which lets her make what's called echoes of different things, and that's where she's able to make copies of like tables, chairs, boxes, blocks of water. And then eventually you find out she can defeat enemies and make echoes of them and use them to send out and do stuff.
Yeah, she needs to try hard to triumph over her enemies.
Jesus Christ.
Women have to work harder in this to get the recognition. So
there was a comment, I was trying to find it, but there was a comment somebody made in good fun though. Mm-hmm. Saying like, why was Link such a dumbass not bringing the Master Sword to the fight and everything?
I don't know. At first I thought, when I saw the trailer, I thought this was like a Link's Awakening remaster. I was like, oh my God, are they redoing that one? Because it looked almost like the Aghanim fight earlier on in the castle where you're bouncing the magic back and forth and he like falls in a hole. And I was like, oh no, this is different. Okay, what's going on? And I kind of wonder if you're going to play as Zelda going around the world of Hyrule, figuring out these holes and what's going on with it and kind of, maybe closing them or whatever, however you want. But I wonder, because they showed a lot of mechanics with Link, are you going to have like little mini adventures with him on whatever the other dimension is? Maybe he's trying to get himself out or get somewhere or do something. Like maybe he'll be like almost like in Paper Mario where you get those sections to play as Peach. You get little snippets
be a
to
wolf.
do stuff. Yeah, that'd be great if he's a wolf, or the pink rabbit. Pink rabbit.
I think if we get Link sequences, they will be very far removed from whatever the from the gameplay as it stands currently. Like it will be very different and not in the way we expect, and it will also be very like short. Like
I would want it to be, if they even did that. I want the focus on Zelda because I'm really excited that they're willing to do something different.
If I had to guess what they might do though, because they did confirm amiibo support, is I think the Awakening amiibo will give you Echo Link. I think it's going to be that, where you can summon him just to do the sword or something a few times.
That'd be cool.
He's a
bring
ghost.
In some of the characters. I mean, that would be fair. Zelda, the one time you got to control her, what was it, in Spirit Tracks or whatever? She was dead and a ghost.
The armor. She was a ghost. Yeah.
Yeah. It's Link's turn to do that crap now.
Yeah. Well.
But I was so happy. I told Jennifer about the direct the morning this came out, and Amanda had to go do stuff, took her with her. She never got to watch it. I was like, don't let her watch it. I wanted to sit there and be with her when she watched this. She lost her shit. She was so happy to get to play as Zelda, and I was like, yes. So she is already demanding I pre-order this for her like now.
People are wondering also why there was no game so far announced in August, and the next thing is why.
Yep. So Nintendo has found out a way to frickin' get me to buy a Nintendo Switch Lite, the system I absolutely hate and think is so pointless. But then they're making a Legend of Zelda themed version, and damn it, I have to finish the set. So
I don't need it.
Yeah, I don't need it either, but I'm doing it.
I don't need
Steven,
it.
go ahead.
I do have some breaking news.
No.
Going back to Mario and Luigi Brothership for one quick second.
Ooh.
They've gotten a little bit more information that it might be developed by ILCA, who developed the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes, Sandland, and One Piece Odyssey. They've been a support studio on numerous games, and if it's true, nobody expected them. But
if that is the case, their animation is top freaking notch. Like that game is gorgeous.
It's probably Alpha Dream like hovering over them saying, make sure this looks good.
Yeah, we will come back and haunt you.
Watching him like a hawk.
No kidding. So, but I'm liking when I'm looking at Echoes of Wisdom, what they were showing the trailers. It's not just her duplicating stuff. Like you can use it to solve different puzzles, which is great. But there was one thing where she had a bunch of birds flying around her. So she made an echo of a chunk of meat, and the birds flew down and started eating it. So then she made a version of their piranha plant, which then immediately lunged over and chomped on them and ate two of the birds. One of them got away, but like it's almost like a puzzle. Like you can cause reactions.
Yeah, some of the stuff reminded people of like it was some aspects of like a 2D Breath of the Wild, because there was another part where she scared all the moblins by making a Redead appear.
Yeah, that was great. They shot the Redead, and the Redead's like,
they're all like shivering, like, oh crap, we can't kill this.
So that was done. They showed I think they did bring a lot of the stuff over from like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, because she was setting fires and they were spreading naturally. And, there was a lot of those mechanics.
Yeah.
In there.
And the fact that Anoma's just like, I lost count of how many echoes you can get. So that's awesome. I hope there's a compendium, but
me too. But I'm excited. Like this, and the fact this is coming out in just a few months and none of us had any idea about it.
Surprise.
Great. They did
plasma donations have gone skyrocketing.
Yeah. Well, they found out, of course, there's been the whole thing with YouTube recently where some of the YouTube employees were going in and watching Nintendo videos when they were put on there, but not made public. So that's how some leaks were going out. And then one of the more known leakers recently finally admitted that one of the Nintendo people working on the back end on their website was feeding him information when they found stuff. So Nintendo did not put anything on their website until this was done. Which is why it took a while for things to update. I think they've
gotten most of the leakers now, because after the Google investigation showed off that those people were helping people out for leaks.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of them who announced that he had been masquerading as a Japanese woman this whole time, giving out leaks. He was outed, saying like he got that all from YouTube. And then the recent one said he got it from Nintendo of Japan employee that's not to be named. So
probably not to be employed anymore.
So I was like, I think they've gotten everybody now. So I don't know. We might be in a good place of no leaks.
Yeah, because I think this is the first direct in a while. I did not see a single leak. I went into this without a thing being talked about, which is a first in a while. So.
And this happened right after that Epic database thing came out and spoiled a bunch of games. So
no kidding. All right, so let's move on from Zelda to our next little surprise here. Lego Horizon Adventures coming holiday 2024. It was super weird seeing PlayStation publishing on a Nintendo Direct, but there it was. This game looked great. It looks like it's gonna be a fun Lego game. I probably enjoy. It's gonna be the closest you're gonna get to a Lego Legend of Zelda right now, probably for a bit. But it holds up way better on the Switch compared to the PS5 version than I had any expectation for them to do. Like it looked really good. Like it should not look that good.
Yeah, this is the first Direct where I saw Xbox Game Studios with Perfect Dark and then PlayStation Publishing.
Yeah, everyone's making stuff for Nintendo, and Nintendo ain't making shit for anyone.
Like, can we have that? No. We heard Samus was going to be on other systems, so we didn't allow her in Fortnite. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, they stick to their guns, but like, people keep asking, why should I buy a Switch? Well, you want to play these games, you have to get that hardware. You need to get their stuff. So it works. All right, next up. This one I just thought was kind of funny that they're bringing it. The cat game Stray, coming holiday 2024 to the Switch. Great game. I played it on PS5. You can get it on Series X and so forth. Play it. If the only option you have is the Switch, maybe, but it's probably way better on the other ones.
It's a collector's edition out there again.
Yeah, I think I got the PS5 one, but it's a great game. It's just going to look so much better on the other systems, but I just wanted to mention it really fast. All right, and now we have Tales of the Shire, a Lord of the Rings game coming holiday 2024, which all I have to say is this is basically Animal Crossing meets Hobbits and has an entire cooking mechanic as, yes, it should.
But it looks bad. So me, I'm personally not a big fan of Animal Crossing. The latest one, especially, because it's lacking something. I'm used to having like a little bit
Your good
like a
taste.
No, it's
certainly
like
je ne crois Frodo.
Like like for example,
I'm giving you a hard time, Rachel. It's okay.
Previous title had little mini games and some extra little story bits, whereas this one is just island build stuff, and I'm just like, that's boring. I need a little more than that to do. So this feels like it's got that. It's got that thing that was missing, much like the Hello Kitty game that was announced. Also,
it's got Gandalf showing up in there, which means you're probably going to get fireworks.
Oh yeah,
go ahead,
perfect.
Steven.
Can I just say it's weird seeing for the first time that it's kind of like seeing ILM working on a game, but seeing Weta Workshop work on a video game. I was like, wow.
Oh, they're working on this directly? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was plastered right on when it was like coming, blah, blah, blah. I was like, Weta Workshop's right there.
So
that's crazy.
I'm glad that they're kind of digging in. I've actually heard people recently talking about like, oh, I'd love to just do stuff with just the hobbits. Like don't even leave the Shire, just stay there. And I'm like, well, here's your game. You're getting the whole
thing.
It's
idyllic lifestyle. You just live in a little hobbit house and you do things in the countryside and you cook good food and you party.
And you fight up the Nosgoth when they show up.
So yeah, we had that Capcom collection. I don't think Capcom can top that, can they?
Maybe. We'll have to see. This next one's kind of, we'll see. Rachel, why don't you tell us what's next?
Oh my God.
Objection!
All my prayers answered. Do you remember that survey that went out ages ago, that Capcom survey?
I do, actually.
No.
Steven, do you remember us talking about it? And I literally was like, I wrote an essay about Edgeworth.
I saw the results, and it was surprising because Dante won everything, but he still got the...
Of course he did.
Like, I wrote an essay and then I encouraged all my friends to do the same, that we want this game. So finally, after all these years, we are getting Ace Attorney Investigations Collection, which comes out on September 6th. Oh my god, it comes out on the same day that Beetlejuice comes out.
And Zelda.
I'm going to lose my mind. But it includes not just the first Edgeworth Investigations game, which is the only one we got here in the States. It includes the second one, which only in Japan originally, which is amazing. And I'm excited for it. It's got updated HD art and audio and different like audio stuff. And then it does have the option for original 2D sprites as well. And it's different from your standard Ace Attorney. It's got a little something else. And all of these games are localized in a really funny way. So if you want a good laugh that doesn't have extremely difficult gameplay, I recommend all of these games 100%. I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, I'm going to be playing through the Phoenix Wright collections before this comes out. I'm going to try and do, because I have those on Switch. I imported them.
Yeah, that's
yes.
That's what I'm doing right now. I just started the first one again.
They have a special feature where he runs a dog race.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna mention. I'm gonna mention this. There's a brilliant little
Okay,
video.
I'm gonna put this link
Yeah.
in the show notes. So if you're watching this on YouTube, it's below. If you're listening to this, go to our Discord or go to the YouTube video, and we'll have this.
Or just go on YouTube and look up Miles Edgeworth runs dog race. No lie.
Keep the sound on.
Keep the sound on. It was made several years ago by someone, and it is the most hysterical.
And now he's being featured on the news.
He is. He's on the news in Japan. Like, they keep playing the video, and he's absolutely boggled. Like, why am I on the news? Oh my god.
The whole thing of when he's on the little teeter-totter and it's going down, the fact he flips open a book and then drinks a cup of tea and then runs off, and I was like, oh my god.
I would like to point out for the second game, one of the pre-order bonuses that was around when they did pre-ordering of when it first came out all those years ago was a tea set. It was like a teacup and a saucer that matched Miles's cup that is used in the game. And so it's I'm like, why can't you bring that back, huh? But you get some kind of access to some extra songs or something if you pre-order it. So I don't know. I'm excited. It's gonna be great. This we've got some another exciting announcement coming up soon. But this was my major excitement.
All right. Yeah, I knew this would be. That's why I had to let you talk about this. And I was like, Rachel's gonna lose her shit.
Oh, I did.
As soon as it came out, Steven's like, you need to watch this direct now.
I watched it on my lunch break, and I purposely brought my headphones, and my coworkers were like, why the hell do you have your headphones with you? And I was just like, shh, I'm watching the Nintendo Direct. And they watched me do a happy clappy dance just in my seat. And they were like, oh God, okay, so it's not Beetlejuice related because she's not doing the giggle. So what is this?
Lord.
So.
All right. So we will jump to our next one here. All right. So the 100 line Last Defense Academy coming early 2025. This one I just wanted to kind of mention really quick. This is from the makers of Danganronpa. And you're basically playing as a teenager that some horrible apocalypse has happened and you're taking shelter in this one school. And you're having to defend it from all these demons and stuff. So of course it's a mystery inside the school as students are dying, and you're basically playing kind of a tactical game on there, trying to get out of it or to defend the school. So it's very, very Danganronpa. So if you know that series, you know how this is going to probably play.
And that was the one more thing, right?
Yeah, that was the end of the show. I mean, that's a pretty solid ending.
Nothing else. No.
Where can we find you?
Yeah, so let's move on to what I lost my absolute shit on.
A lot of people did.
No kidding. This blew my mind because we waited 7 freaking years for this. 7 years. And all we've had is one image of a title. But no more. Because coming out in 2025, we now officially have Metroid Prime 4 Beyond.
I legit could hear Caleb screaming all the way down here in Orlando the moment that I saw this announcement. I felt it on the wind, and I was like, he's yelling. He knows.
Yes.
The world is
probably does. So people have been trying to argue that, saying that this was not actually on the Switch. It looks too good. It can't be on the Switch. This must be Switch 2. They're lying to us. No, it's been confirmed. This is on the Nintendo Switch. If you have one from the launch day back when they came out, it will play the same as now. Just the screen won't look as good as the OLED, but it will play. That's how the game is. They've even broke down like how it's running, why that's on the Switch, because this does not look far off from the Metroid Prime Remaster. And that's not a bad thing. Metroid Prime Remaster was phenomenally good looking. Still is. I love how it plays.
This is what happens when you give Retro Studios 7 years.
Yeah. Well, they've had about 5 years.
Or they got a reboot halfway through because they're like, no, this isn't Nintendo.
They had part of, I think Namco Bandai was working on it, and they had it for about 2 years, and they could not get it going correctly. So Nintendo scrapped it and let Retro come back and start over development after about 5 years ago. So this is still, 5 years we've had from this. Starts off showing Samus's gunship come in, her hop out, and immediately goes to first person, which is in-game playing the game. So we can see the targeting system, the missiles, the options. You've got this whole battlefield and things.
So much going on and not a single dip.
Yeah, it looks great. The only time there's any dip in a frame rate, which there always was before, was whenever she later changes to the morph ball. Because there's always been a couple of frames that hitch when that happens. That's been happening since the GameCube original all the way to now. Who cares? And some of the old animators from Prime were even noticing, like when she's rolling through that rail as the ball and she hits a corner, she like hops up and kind of keeps going. Like the ball has that momentum. They're like, yeah, they've even kept the animation from that. Like that same physics are there. And you run into another bounty hunter, which this is kind of a spoiler for some of the older games, but it's been so long and most of you probably haven't seen this anyways. But you run into Silex, which is one of the antagonistic other bounty hunters that you could play as in Metroid Prime Hunters on the DS. You guys remember that? It was originally shown off as a launch demo on the DS and then came out a few years later as one of the earlier DS online games.
You could tell the Metroid fans who reacted to this because there was either cheers for Silex and oh my god, or they were like, oh, okay, cool.
Oh, I was just like, oh
people
my god.
People who lost their crap for Silex was just, I was like, you the real MVP.
Because I was actually messing with this game earlier. It was great. But we've been wondering about this story because since Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, if you got 100% of everything, at the very end, you'd get a secret cutscene showing Silex's ship kind of getting ready to go and then following Samus's ship, like because they were hunting her down. And then for even further in, if you actually played Federation Force, which there's not many of you because people
good on you
about it. Huh?
I said good on you if you did.
But if you got all the way to the end, there was a secret mission you could play as Samus, and you would find Silex at the end finding a Metroid baby that was being cloned, that was being worked on. Now, when you see Silex in this trailer, those are not Metroids behind them. They're called Mocktroids. It's like a cloned version the pirates had that only has a single nucleus. It can kind of drain energy, but it's not as powerful, and you could just take them out normally. But a lot of people didn't notice that at first. Even when I first saw it, just watching it, I thought they were Metroids until I had to go back. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be the main antagonist, it seems like. And just this game looks
I like the Mocktroid, but I'm probably going to call them Temus. We have Metroids at home.
When you order Metroids from Wish.
Oh no.
Metroids.
When you wish upon a Mocktroid. So then they did show, because it's not going to be just the inside, building area. They showed this massive outside forest environment.
It goes beyond
for a while. Yeah, it goes beyond. So I have a crazy theory on this. When you see the logo, it looks almost like a black hole, like with some kind of mechanism around it. that general shape, when Samus is rolling through as a morph ball, you see some of the galactic scientists like wheeling away some piece of equipment that kind of looks like that. Like that, maybe that is some kind of like power supply, or it opens up a portal or something. And that's what the space pirates are trying to get to as they're trying to get it away. And Samus is trying to help. It's just kind of, they looked similar to me. So I wonder if they're connected somehow. But the fact that we finally have a date, this thing is real, finally, after all these years.
Amazon pre-order just updated with a date.
Right. It's going to be next year. And I think we can all agree. I feel this is going to be a cross-gen game. I think
so too.
We're either going to get one of two things. We're either going to get it released on the Switch, and it's going to have enhancements on the Switch too, or it will be actually physically released on both. Like it'll be separate releases, which is what they did with Twilight Princess and Breath of the Wild. Go ahead, Steven.
I think if the rumor that we reported on a few episodes ago about the hidden in the code for Paper Mario, that if it natively upgrades, that I think they'll just set the release of this to be either the same month or close to the Switch 2 to kind of just be a twofer, like a launch title for the Switch 2 as well, saying, hey, it's got enhancements, because I think that's going to be a selling point.
It would be
to sell a lot of their older titles.
Launch.
If this is all true, then it's a cross-gen title that doesn't cost more money.
And I do like that Nintendo does this, because people got upset at first. I remember when, Twilight Princess was promised on the GameCube for years, and they're like, we're making it a Wii launch title. And everyone's like, but you promised it us on GameCube. We want to play it on the system we already have. And they released it on GameCube. Same thing happened with Breath of the Wild. People didn't want to buy a Switch at first because they weren't 100% sure. Like, we already have the Wii U. We're like 10 people. We want our game. They released it. I have one of them. So I have like 1 out of 10. And I think that would work for Metroid Prime 4, because we've been waiting for 7 years for this thing as a promise that it's going to be on the Switch. If they release it as a launch title for the new system, but it's completely compatible with the older hardware, I think that's the best of both worlds, and people can be happy. And then later, if they do upgrade their hardware, they have a game already ready to go, and be enhanced. But, oh God, I'm so excited. I thought about asking Caleb on here just for this discussion too.
Honestly, I'm kind of surprised you didn't, but I think it would be pretty late for him.
It would be. Yeah.
That's an extra quarter in itself.
We've already done one for Metroid Prime. We need to do some for 2 and 3 also. And I got to find someone for pinball so we can play, Metroid Prime pinball the extra quarter. Why not? So, yeah, that finished up the Nintendo Direct, and that was a hell of a Direct. So once again, we are going to go around the group and get our letter review of this one. So let's go backwards this time. Rachel, what about you? What letter grade would you give this Nintendo Direct?
If there was a grade higher than an A, I would give them that.
S tier or A plus?
S tier. Yeah, A plus. Like higher than an A plus, whatever. Like they did a good job. There's a bunch of.
I thought you were going to give it an A for Ace Attorney, but we worked too well. No, we stay with your S.
Yeah, stick with your S. That's the tier of it.
Yeah.
Chase, what about you?
I'd give it a solid A. I was watching it with Shanoa as well, and she's probably the same as Rachel. She'd probably give it like an S tier because of Ace Attorney, the new Legend of Zelda, and Mario and Luigi was the other big one that she was excited about. So she was like, holy crap, this is awesome.
Nice. All right, Steven, what about you?
S for Samus.
Oh, you beat me to the joke, you son of a...
I was taken for a ride that entire Direct. Especially in the middle.
Yeah, I'd have to go with an S tier as well. Like, I loved the Xbox one. I was like, this is one of the best showings a company has had in a while. And Nintendo had to come out and be like, all right, we have basically a 2017 Android tablet. Sit your butts down. We got some stuff to show.
Yeah, they're like, our swan song is going to be incredible.
Yeah, their swan song is like some systems wish.
It's not even a swan song; it's a swan symphony.
Yeah, this is the first act in a master play.
Swan World Tour.
It doesn't even.
I just love how they said in the Xbox One, Xbox showed everything. The only thing that would have made it better is a fighting game, and Nintendo's like, show a fighting game in our direct.
Show the fighting game in our direct.
The fighting game.
Hold my beer like, and hold my sake. Hold both. Don't drink them though. I'll need them later.
Yeah. Hold my market cap. Just good God. Just as much as I love the Xbox, Nintendo they came to play. They came to kill. Like, oh man, it really does make the Sony one look even worse, though. Like, I don't know what was up with Sony on that one, but yeah, maybe they'll have some better stuff later. But man,
the Concord trailer was as long as the entire Nintendo Direct.
Feels like it. Feels like we're still stuck in that. And that's the thing. Like Nintendo, when they came in here, almost nothing they showed was video. Almost everything showed gameplay. The stuff from Metroid, they really did not have to show that much. If they had shown up with Metroid, showed a new logo and like a pre-rendered video, we would have lost our shit. But they're just like,
gameplay.
Yeah, we're just going to hop right in. Here's the game. And it looks so good. And this is all on Retro Studios because those guys, they know how to optimize hardware. Like, it's crazy how good they are at that.
It's just when you think, even without leaks this time, just when you think you've guessed everything they're going to announce. Nope.
I couldn't have guessed half of this. I never would have guessed
people were still holding out like Silksong for Metroid Prime 4, but I'm sorry, but the Marvel Capcom announcement and the Zelda announcement was just like, excuse me?
Yeah, I did.
And then Miles Edgeworth was just like cherry on top.
I did not expect a new Zelda at all. And the fact that we are actually getting to finally play as Zelda, I think it's long overdue, and I'm so glad they are not just copy and pasting Link. She needs to be different, and they're doing that. So, yeah. Oh, it's a hell of a one, but I think we've had a pretty good show. We're going on about 2 hours, 16 minutes now.
An hour per direct. Okay.
Pretty much. Yeah, I think we split that up pretty well. We almost hit the hour mark on each one, so. All right, so if you want to follow the rest of us, you can find us over on Twitter or X at Zenspath Podcast, where you'll find where we post about the show and everything there. Down in the below the video or the audio version, you can find where everyone can be located at. So where you can find us online. Chase, I think I need to add you onto that as well. That way your stuff is there too. If you're watching the video version of this over at YouTube, feel free to go to any of your favorite podcasting sources to listen to us. You can just search for the Zenspath Entertainment Network Podcast and you'll find us. Leave us a 5-star review. Write us a review because that helps people actually find us. Share us. That's the easiest way to help us out for free. And then if you're listening to this and you'd like to actually watch us talk about this or see as we're showing off our weird little knickknacks and things throughout the time, you can find us over at youtube.com/ZenspathCom or ZenspathCom without the period. Leave us a thumbs up, share this with people, leave us comments. We'd love to talk to you, and that helps us out a lot as well. And that's pretty much about it. So this has been episode 132 of the Zenspath Entertainment Network Podcast, and we're out. Peace.
P9 Parker.
We're going to take you for a ride.